Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
For the upcoming right-hander, brake 30 meters later and ease off the pressure.
Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Alla, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.
A very good evening and welcome to Evolution Sim Racing European GT Championship. This is the final round 10 at the Silverstone GP circuit in the United Kingdom. A very warm welcome this evening. I'm James Bostock and I'm going to be in the comms booth this evening. My normal co-commentator Dara Thacker is unfortunately delayed in some traffic, so he will be joining us at some point, hopefully before the end of qualifying and before we get into the real action tonight. So unfortunately, for the time being, you guys who are all tuning in to the stream, a very good evening to you, are going to be stuck with me and my dulcet tones alone. So yeah, it seems that the commentator's curse has struck this weekend, with Paul Walsh having his breakdown on north of the M1, about 100 miles from his house, that prevented him doing a live broadcast earlier on this weekend, and then today with Dara's traffic. So hopefully he will be joining us a bit later. If we've got our usual suspects in the chat, it would be fantastic if you could let me know if the audio volume, the audio levels and volume is all correct. So without further ado, you may have noticed that we started 5 minutes late tonight. That was just to try to allow Dara that little bit more time. So yeah, if anybody could let us know in the chat when Dara does join if the audio levels are right, because we've not had chance to test tonight. So without further ado, let's get into some of the action. So we're at round 10 tonight, which is the final round of the championship. I can't believe that it started way back in March, on the 23rd of March, with round 1 at the Sachsenring. It seems like lots of things have happened since then. Lots of championship battles have been taking place between the drivers in the 2 different classes and also the 2 different teams championships. So here we are, Silverstone, 60-minute race tonight for the final round. And so far, I'm looking in the timing software at the moment, we have 35 drivers on track with us. So that's fantastic to see at the end of a season, to see so many drivers on track with us for tonight's race. So that is really, really, really good. So what about the track? The track itself, Silverstone, well, it's a track that most drivers know and most drivers are familiar with. And I think we've said in the past streams that sometimes that track being familiar can kind of lead to confidence, sometimes a little bit of overconfidence. But hopefully tonight, looking at the times that are being set at the moment, it's going to shake things up a little bit. So nice, big, wide, open track. As you come out of Club Corner, you've got the first corner, Abbey and Farm Curve, then tight, twisty into After Village and then the loop. Then you've got Aintree with the first of the 3 big straights on the Wellington Straight. Coming into Brooklands, the left-hander, and then the right-hander of Luffield. Onto Woodcote, down the Old National Straight. Then you've got Copse, the super fast Copse, which is going to be, I don't know whether it's going to be a great overtaking place tonight or not, but it's certainly going to be one to look out for. Then you've got the lead up down that smaller straight into Maggots and Beckett's, coming out of Chapel onto the Hanger Straight, the highest speed straight on the circuit, which is going to lead into the right-hander of Stowe. So I imagine there's going to be definitely some overtaking places tonight on the inside of Stowe. Coming out of Stowe, down to Vale, into that final tight, twisty, turn 16, 17 chicane. So it's going to hopefully produce some fantastic racing for us tonight. From a multi-class perspective, I think the drivers will have plenty of space to get the multi-class overtakes done. So hopefully we don't see too many incidents in that regard. As we all know, this is the kind of the time of the week when we usually do our Rob Mackay Drive It Like You Hired It Hot Lap series. So for this week at Silverstone, it seemed only fitting to steal the car of one of our existing British drivers from the GT3 Championship on a Thursday night, and also to remind our own Mr. Sheesby of what the BMW would have been like to drive around Silverstone had he have not picked the Porsche at the start of the season. So Rob is going to take us round a lap of Silverstone, usually commentated by Dara, but tonight I'm going to have to talk us through it. So without further ado, let's see how Rob got on. So here we can see Rob finishing his lap as he just comes out of club onto the start-finish straight. So it looks like we've got a car in the distance already as Rob comes into Abbey and then Farm Curve, and surprise, surprise, that looks like it might be Andrew Fellows. I'm not sure if that was in some kind of Datsun Sunny there. I'm not 100% sure. As Rob gets it hooked up, coming out of Village and now into the loop. So second gear corner, careful with the power as he puts the power on as he comes down into the Wellington Straight. So this is going to be one tonight for any driver who can get the right traction out of there onto the Wellington Straight is going to look good for a dive on the inside to the left-hand corner of Brooklands. So left hand into Brooklands, keeping it tight. The right-hander of Luffield, again, very, very tempting to try and put the power down too early. Rob didn't do too bad there as he comes onto the old National Straight, as you've got the old pit entrances and garages on your right-hand side, as he now comes up to Copse, the fast-flowing right-hander. I did see on an earlier lap that on those pods on the left-hand side that you can see now, that Matt Hoyland and Martin Kenyon had actually hired one of those to watch Rob while he was on his track day. So I think they were sipping champagne while Rob was doing this. As he comes through Maggots and Beckett's, gets out of Chapel, onto the Hanger Straight now, puts the power down in Dean's BMW. I did see on one earlier lap that Rob was trying to grab a beer as he was driving, but there was nothing down to his right. As he comes into Copse, just kind of tickles the power through Copse, just gets a little bit squirmy there on the exit of Copse, down into the final chicane. You've got this kind of flip-flop through the left, through the right, leading you back on to the straight. So a great lap there from Rob. I'm sure that Dean Sheasby will not mind in the slightest that Rob stole his car for that hot lap. What I will say is take this little moment for a shout out for Rob. Rob has been the subject of our Drive It Like You've Hired It series all season. And we've had a few giggles doing them along the way. It's a shame that Dara wasn't here just yet this evening to guide us through that final lap, as he's much better than I am. So yeah, big shout out, big thanks to Rob Mackay, and yeah, we will see what future series can bring in terms of Rob's involvement. So just another thing from last week, you may remember, for those of you that were watching the stream last week, so you may remember this fella, Pedro Luis da Silva, that was allegedly, in inverted commas, under investigation from the stewards for assisted help by Andre Luis da Silva, as you can see here. So the investigation was completed, and there was a statement that came from the Luis da Silva team exonerating Andre of any involvement. He wasn't aware that he was helping his father actually do the sim racing. So you'll be pleased to know that the investigation has been dropped, and Pedro Luis da Silva is without any form of charges whatsoever and is racing tonight. So I'm glad that's cleared that one up for us. Before we get into the qualifying action, we've got a few minutes left and we've got the standings to run through as well. Obviously, we're going a little bit quicker than we would have done normally when you've got me and Dara kind of chewing the fat a little bit at each other. So just taking a moment to talk about our next series, which actually starts the first pre-season round on the 3rd of August. This is the Americas GT Challenge. So what we've decided to do for the next series is we are looking at still a multi-class teams championship, but that will involve the GTE class and the GT3 class. So it's a little bit of a step up from GT3, GT4. This was kind of requested by some of the drivers, saying that they wanted something a little bit different. And with it being an America's GT Challenge, all of the circuits are actually on the Americas continent. So the commentators for the AGTC is going to be the fantastic Paul TX141 Walsh, who is going to be in the commentary booth on, I think, from memory, 8 weeks out of 10. And Dara Thacker will be joining him in the booth. So the 2 weeks that Paul can't make the broadcast in, myself and Dara are going to fill in. Looking at some of the circuits, you can see we start off with a pre-season at Laguna Seca. We then got Daytona, the road course for round 1, Mosport Park in Canada, followed by VIR, and that is the grand course. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see how all the drivers get on there. We've then got Interlagos in Brazil, followed by Cota on the GP circuit, and then we've got Sebring International for a 90-minute race that is going to be a sunset race. So really, really looking forward to that one. Back to Canada for Circuit Gilles Villeneuve for a 60-minute race for round 7, followed by the tight and twisty street circuit that is Long Beach for round 8, back to a 60-minute race. Road America, a bit more familiar for the drivers for the penultimate round for round 9, and then the final round of the series will be on the 21st of December, just before Christmas, before we sign off for the break, and that will be at the iconic Watkins Glen that everybody knows. So at the moment, we do have a full grid, almost full grid, shall we say. We've got 2 spaces left remaining, so that's 2 team spaces left remaining. So anybody that is interested, please feel free to jump into the Evolution Sim Racing Discord and check out those details in the Discord about the AGTC. And when they've gone, they've gone. So yeah, hopefully we'll get those filled before next week, and that will be that championship with another full grid for ESR. So that's looking forward to that. Going to be fantastic. So back to the real stuff, for the serious stuff for this evening. So final round of the championship. We'll start off with the GT3 driver standings. So currently leading with 1 round to go is Anton Kalo from MK Simsport. So Anton currently has a 14-point lead over Yannis Albert for Minecraft Racing Team. So it's fair to say that Yannis has been absolutely dominant since he joined the series in round 3, with all of those wins in succession for every round. So a clear favourite and very, very, very dominant in the series. However, Anton being only 14 points ahead means that if Anton finishes, I think, 2nd or 3rd, that he will secure the GT3 Drivers' Championship. And he's made it clear to us in previous interviews that he is looking for that GT3 Drivers' Championship more so than the teams. So Anton is going to want to put on a good show tonight and get as close to Yannis as he can, if not beat Yannis, of course. And who knows, anything can happen. We've then got Will Soper for Access Coned in 3rd place, who is currently 66 points behind Yannis Albert. So no chance of the title realistically, but definitely will be looking to hang on to that 3rd place. From Gianni Terhaar from Quad Dash Racing, the Dutchman, who's had an in and out season. He's had some fantastic results, but also has had some bad luck as well. So I know that from the team's championship perspective, Gianni will be looking to get a really solid, good run tonight. We've then got Matt Hoyland in 5th place for DXT Motorsports. We've then got Jaden Scotton for Flatline Racing Green in 6th place on 242 points. Arumas Zelinskas, so bit of form come good with his 3rd place last time out at Spa in 7th place. We've then got Ben Bennyworth for Quatermass Motorsport Bravo in 8th place. Kalle Leskinen for Flatline Racing Pink in 9th. And then we've got Joe Glass rounding out the top 10. So Joe Glass is currently sat in the last trophy winning position. So that's something that he's definitely going to be looking to hang on to tonight. Followed by Denzel Clarkson, Quad Dash Racing LGR in 11th place, and Joe Sparrer in 12th place for JSD Racing. So that's the GT3s. Let's move on to the GT4s. So GT4s, a dominant William Humphrey is leading in 1st place on 374 points, followed by Pedro Luis da Silva in 2nd place on 338 points. So I think that unless there's some kind of miracle tonight, William looks like he's got one hand on that championship, in the same way that Pedro Luis da Silva also appears to have one hand on the 2nd place, which he'll be desperate to keep hold of. Marius Hibmer is with us tonight. I think I've seen Marius in the timing software. I have indeed. So Marius has just gone out and started doing quali. So Marius Hibmer, Flatline Racing Green in third place, only 39 points behind Pedro Luis da Silva. So then we've got Bobby Moss, Yannis Albert's teammate for Minecraft's racing team, on 272 points in fourth place, followed by Martin Kenyon, only 1 point behind Bobby Moss, with 271 points for the DXT Motorsports team. So looking very, very close for these two. Tristan Engelstadt, Quad Dash Racing, in sixth. Stephen Donnelly in seventh for JSD Racing. We've got Ryan Stringer, who missed the first part of the season, but is coming on strong towards the midsection. He's had a difficult round last round at Spa. Ryan in 8th place, and then we've got Linus Petkavicius in 9th on 202 points, 15 points behind. And then we've got Justin Eloff, who also missed the first part of the championship, and Justin is rounding out those top 10 positions for that last trophy position. We've then got Nils Cooler in 11th, and Thomas Noakes, who's had 3 second places in the last 3 rounds. He's going to be looking to go one better tonight against William Humphrey to see if he can take that win away from him. So, just have a quick swallow of water before we go through the pro teams. Well, difficult job on your own. Paul Walsh did tell me. So then, Pro Teams Championship. So we've got Minecraft Racing with Yannis Albert and Bobby Moss on 697 points. Quad Dash Racing only 22 points behind in second place. Anton Kalo, Thomas Noakes for MK Sim Sport in third on 611 points. We've then got Flatline Racing Green, which is Jaden Scotton and Marius Hibmer in fourth place. And then the last of the trophy winning positions is Glass Tech Racing, Joe Glass and William Humphrey in 5th place. So they're going to be desperate to hold on to that. They've got a nice little gap between themselves and Access Coned from Will Soper and Chris Jennings. 7th place, Arumas Zelinskas and Linus Petkavicius in 7th. We've then got in 8th place Andrew Fellows and Pedro Luis da Silva for Flatline Racing, followed by Quad Dash Racing LGR in 9th on 372 points. And then the last of the cash prizes winners, we've got Axis RDSA of Josh Cowan and Justin Aloff. So following them, we've got Jason Baxter and Evan Main, who haven't raced for a while, Christian Chard and Craig Hewlett from HSR, LS Racing's Dean Tyler and Lauren Didapper, and then the random racers who haven't raced since round 2 of Federico Luzzi and Name Mayer. So that is the state of the Pro Teams Championship. As we look to the Pro-Ams, well, this one's already been decided. So we've got Matt Hoyland and Martin Kenyon, who have taken the championship. They can't be beat, so they are the champions of the Pro-Ams. It looks like a fairly foregone conclusion that we've got JSD Racing's Joe Sparrow and Stephen Donnelly taking that second place. We've then got Andre Muntean and Nils Cooler in third place, followed by Vulcan Fasteners, Glass Tech Racing's Matthew Jones and Nick Stubb in fourth. And then the last of the trophy winning positions, this is the trophies for the teams in the Teams Championship, is Kalle Leskinen and Daniel Poole for Flatline Racing Pink. So they're going to be looking to hold on to that. From Quatermass Motorsport Bravo's Ben Bennyworth and Ian Chambers on 207 points. 7th place, we've got Adam Baker and Callum Morrow. 8th place, we've got Clyde Veyer and Malcolm Coates from Rage Against the Game Esports Diamond. In 9th place, we've got Dean Sheesby and Rob Gregg. In 10th place, we've got Mission R of Ryan Blackie and Dan Cross, rounding out the last of the cash prize positions. Just outside there, we've got Andy Chell and Simon Hunt, so they're going to want to get inside that top 10 tonight if they can. We've got LS Racing 001, Louis Plath and Pete Paver, who I think are both with us. We've got Kame GP2 Porsche of Jim Fox and John Ludbrook in 13th. Tsuma GP2 Porsche of Robin Aston and Scott Kostrick in 14th. And then we've got Dean Sargent and Jason Haddington, who haven't been able to race with us since round 2, if I remember correctly, or round 1, of Flatline Racing Blue. So that's the standings tonight. A lot of championship battles that we're going to see. I think the main one is going to be between Gianni Terhar, Tristan Engelstadt, Bobby Moss and Yannis Albert. Big shout out to our series sponsors, so Trophy AI, VRS, Kame for the personalised trophies for the series, GP2 Group, and also Motorsport UK's esports division that recommended ESR as a recommended community some time ago. An accolade that we're quite proud of, as you may imagine. Again, We've put the live timing link in the chat, so we can see a few of you joining us in the chat. We've got Andy Chell saying good evening. We've got Ash Brooks joining us as well. They're just going into quali at the minute. Matt Hoyland has said that he's just seen us that we've won the Euros again, so that's be what the shouting is in the background. But yeah, if you want to click the live link and see the live timing, feel free. It's at the top of the chat there. And without further ado, I think we should get into some action on track with some qualifying. So hopefully any point now, we will be joined by Mr. Thacker, who I won't actually be able to see him join us. So it's going to kind of be relying on him just chirping up and speaking at the same time. So if, again, if you could let us know on the volume, that would be extremely good, as I just kind of have a little tweak there with the iRacing volume. So we join with 11 minutes left to go. So this is on the previous ESR format. So the drivers have 4 laps to get their best lap in. So obviously we had the tyre update fairly recently from iRacing that takes approximately 3 to 5 laps to get the tyres in the right working window. So this series was already going on. So we decided with the admin team not to actually change the ruling halfway through. So these drivers tonight, certainly for the GT3 class, are currently looking to set their best times within that window. So it's probably fair to say that these tyres will not be in the most optimum condition on laps 2 and 3, and maybe one really, really good fast quali lap on lap 4. So looking at what we've got currently in the timing tower, as we have a look by the groups, we can see that we've got Joe Glass currently leading the way. So that's a good surprise there for Joe Glass. So Joe has completed, I think Joe's completed 3 laps at the moment. As we just jump on board with Joe, we'll have a little look. So Joe's gone top of the GT3s with a 1 minute 58.5, and that's just been beaten by Yannis Albert with a 1 minute 58.4. So he's just beaten Joe's time by a 10th, and I imagine that Yannis is on the 3rd of his laps, so there's still probably some times to come in. We've got Jaden Scotton running in 3rd, as Joe looks like he's finished his lap, so we'll jump on board with Jaden. Let's change that to that camera, as he looks like he's finished his lap as well. Anton Kalo's still got some lap still left to do. It looks like my timing software has actually lost the laps completed. So let me put that back on and I can now tell you. So that's where that's gone. So yeah. So Jaden Scott, Anton Kalo, who we're on board with now, this is his final lap. He's done 3 laps. This is his final lap. So he's chasing down Yannis Albert, and he's actually, my goodness me, he's 100th behind Yannis. So he doesn't need a massive improvement to put himself in contention for that pole position. So we've got Will Soper in 3rd. Joe Glass has moved down to 4th. We've got Gianni Terhar. Let's have a look at Gianni. Gianni has completed all of his laps, but it looks like Gianni is just getting some more practice in at the moment. Thank you, Grant Miller, who has confirmed that the audio is okay. So that's very, very good to hear. So we can carry on where we were. So yeah, Gianni's completed all his laps, so he will be getting a bit of extra practice in, I think. Let's have a look at Kalle Leskinen for Flatline Racing Pink. So Kalle Leskinen currently in P10 with a 159.5, very, very close to Joe Sparrow ahead, 9,000th separating Kalle Leskinen and Joe Sparrow. We've then got Matt Hoyland in P11. I think Matt's joined us a little bit late, probably watching the Euros, and can't fault him. So he's currently running P11. Matthew Jones P12, Aruma Zelinskas in P13, and Andrew Fellows in P14. So we've got 3 drivers still to set a lap, which is Andy Chell, Andre Muntean and Dean Sheesby. Meanwhile, in the GT4s, we've just had William Humphrey complete his final lap. So Thomas Noakes has managed to take pole position so far with 7 minutes remaining, and these guys have actually completed all their laps as I check the other software on the other screen. He does. Thomas Noakes is actually back in the pits, but he's only completed 3 laps. So they were on board with Bobby Moss coming to round out his final lap. What's Bobby Moss going to do? Is he going to improve? He doesn't need a lot to improve. He's currently on a 2:10.0 as he comes across the line now. Bobby Moss, does he improve? He doesn't, no. 2:10.1, so he doesn't improve and he stays in P5. We've got Arumas Zelinskas putting in a late show. He's currently done 2.5 laps, so he's got 1.5 laps left, and I think Arumas very kindly did this for us last week as well in Spa. So as Arumas looks to get a lap in, he's currently P13. I would imagine that Arumas is looking to be a little bit further up the field than P13, certainly after the form that he showed, and with a 2 minute, he's got 1.5 seconds to find up to the leaders. So maybe this was a bit of an installation lap for him, and now he's going to put a real lap on. We'll stay on board with the Arumas as Dean Sheesby just puts a lap in to put in P14. We know that Dean's not a massive fan of the Porsche, but he's put a good lap in there at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Let's have a quick jump on board with Arumas as he takes us through the lap. Yeah, thank you, Grant. Also confirming that we've got no stutters on the stream so far. Yes, we've done quite a bit of upgrade work into, oh my goodness me, as unfortunately Arumas spins, and that is going to be the end of Arumas's lap. We'll jump on board with Matt Hoyland in the Corvette. So yeah, we've done quite a bit of upgrade work on the connection side, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we should, obviously not going to tempt fate, Grant, but we should, fingers crossed, be able to have a stable stream tonight. So Matt Hoyland is currently on his 3rd lap, so he's got this lap and he's got one more after this, the same as Dean Sheesby. Andy Chell has done 2 laps and he hasn't managed to get a lap time in yet. We've got none of the GT4s. Sorry, I tell a lie. We have got one of the GT4s. We've got Rob Gregg still to set a lap, but we'll stay on board with Matt Hoyland as he crosses the line. Is he going to improve from a 1:59.8? And he does. He goes P7. He goes a 1:58.8. So Matt Hoyland has just took a second off his previous lap, as that looks like it might have been an off track. So let's have a jump on board with Rob Gregg. So Rob Gregg, this is Rob's final lap, currently running in the Mercedes for the Moonshiners Racing Club. As Rob comes out of Cops down towards the final chicane, is Rob going to improve? He hasn't set a lap currently. I just wonder if Rob's thinking of keeping himself out of trouble here and just following on the rest of the field as Rob Gregg goes across the line with a 2:13.7. So that's P17 for Rob Gregg, but he has managed to put a lap in. So good for Rob. And then Andy Chell for the Quatermass Motorsport team. Andy is on his 3rd lap. So Andy's got this lap and one more to go. And I'm just told that the saviour has arrived and he's in the commentary booth. So are you there, Dora? He says he's here. Let me go and... Are we there, Dara? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you perfectly. You were muted, I couldn't hear you.
I know.
I was
A very good evening. A very good evening to you. Well,
delighted to have made it for the end of qualifying. I really am.
not as delighted as I am, my friend. That was that was tough doing the full start, especially when I can hear that there is some kind of activity and cheering going on in the background, which is, I'm guessing, something to do with England, is it?
I think it is. I was driving home and I was getting notifications through on my phone. And I think they won. So, yes, I presume so. I haven't seen it. I ran straight in the door, straight in here, and immediately got on. So I haven't actually seen, but I think you're right.
Well, if it's any consolation, Dara, I've not seen it either. So I only know that we've won because Matt Hoyland spoiler in the chat, and I've also heard something through the back of my headphones. So yeah, if somebody could let us know if Grant, if you're still there, if you could let us know if Dara's audio is correct, if it needs to be up or down, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. So yeah, final round, Dara. Qualifying just drawing to a close. We've been through all the formalities. We've been through all of the championship standings, which I'm sure I didn't deliver quite as eloquently as you normally do for your half, shall we say. But yeah, I think the big battle tonight is going to be between Minecraft Racing Team of Yannis Albert and Bobby Moss versus Gianni Terhar and Tristan Engelstadt.
It is, and already it looks like it's going to be quite a big fight. Yanis, pole position in that GT3 class. Bobby Moss kind of doing his bit in P5, and then to have Gianni in 6th and Tristan in 4th, it's going to be close. I think Bobby needs to perform. If Yanis keeps up the form that we've seen of late from him, he's likely to be able to. He's likely to be able to pull enough points for him on his side of the garage to get the team that much closer. It's going to really, I think, depend on that battle between Engelstadt and Bobby Moss. If Bobby Moss can beat Tristan Engelstadt on the road, you'd feel like it's pretty much going to be over in favour of Minecraft Racing Team.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's almost a three-way battle. I think you've got Yannis Albert and Anton Kalo that are kind of battling for pride in the GT3s. And then who knows what might happen. You've got Gianni Terhar that needs to just do the best performance he can do to get that gap as close as he can to Yannis. But then I think the real battle is going to be coming between Bobby and Tristan. It only takes one slip up and in this multi-class environment or one kind of wrong move and all of a sudden one of those drivers could be massively downfield and that could massively swing the championship. But we'll see how that plays out as we go on. As qualifying comes to an end, Dara, it looks like we're all ready to go with the grid. So, if you want to talk us through the grid, is that coming through okay on your screen, Dara?
It's coming through beautifully well.
Okay.
If anything, better than it has before. So it's
well, don't tempt fate. Don't tempt fate. Please, don't tempt fate. Okay, over to you.
Well, for Yannis Albert, it's going to be another pole position then in this GT3 class. He leads Anton Kalo. Those two, of course, fighting over the driver's title. 14 points separate them, but you'd argue that they'll both be looking at the team standings a little bit more tonight. Will Soper P3, a really good performance from him again, just 200th off pole. With Joe Glass, what a lap from him to go P4, as he looks to maybe put himself a little bit higher than P10 in the standings, of which he currently occupies. Jaden Scotland and Gianni Terhar, of course, Terhar needing a good result. He's on row 3. Matt Hoyland, after helping to wrap up that Pro-Am Teams Championship last week, is going to start 7th. Adam Baker will be alongside him on row 4. Ben Bennyworth and Kyle Eskin, the Quatermass and the Flatline Racing Pink drivers, are on row 5. We're already to the drivers, more than a second back from our front 3. Joe Sparrow and Matthew Jones make up row 6, ahead of Arima Shalinskas and Dean Cheeseby on row 7. Andy Chell is just ahead of Andrew Fellows and Andre Muntian towards the back of the GT3 grid. Before we get to the GT4s, Thomas Noakes is the driver who will lead that group of drivers to green, and he's been on such great form of late. He'll be looking, I'm sure, to get himself inside the top 10 in the championship. 3 P2s in a row have put him in a position where if he can get enough points on Niels Kuhler and Justin Ailoff, he's going to be able to do it. Behind Noakes is William Humphrey, who is the championship leader, and Marius Hibmer, who's 3rd, looking to maybe offset Pedro Luis de Silva tonight for P2. Tristan Engelstadt is going to be 4th in class, ahead of Bobby Moss. Of course, those two, Quad Dash, Minecraft Racing Team, are the two teams we have to keep an eye on in the Pro Teams Championship. Nick Stubber and Martin Kenyon are going to be 6th and 7th, with Ryan Stringer, Pedro Luis de Silva, and Niels Kuhler rounding out our top 10. Chris Jennings and Linus Petkavicius are going to be on what is row 6 for the GT4. Stephen Donnelly and Callum Morrow, an all-Irish row 7, with the grid rounded out by Simon Hunt, Pete Paiva, Rob Gregg, and the timeless Ian Chambers from qualifying. 35 drivers, James. One final race of the season.
We do. One final race of the season. They're going to put a 10-second gap between the GT3s and the GT4s. So we've got Yannis Albert for the final time, who is going to take it away, and I will try and keep up, Dara, with the action as you take us through this first lap.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a race. This is going to be a really important one for every single championship. Yannis Albert looks like he's going to try and make it 8 in a row, and he's gone relatively early. Good start from him. He's just about going to lead the championship leader, Anton Kahler, down towards turn number 1. We've got Will Soper and Joe Glass jostling for P3 and behind. Matt Hoyland making the move past Adam Baker as they work their way through the opening corner of the racetrack through Farm, the difficult left-hander to judge, and we'll have to see if anybody makes a bit of a lunge down at Village, which Yanni Terhar looks like he's done. Thomas Noakes, though, has got away cleanly at the front of the field in the GT4s. William Humphrey being chased by Marius Hipmer, but those three look like they've got through relatively well. Dean Sheesby having some problems at the back of the GT3 class as they fan out in towards Village. Outside line for Marius Hipmer. What a move that is from the Danish driver to get around the outside. You've got to get up very early to do that against William Humphrey. A bit of a switchback, though, from Humphrey to get to the inside at Aintree and the loop. He'll be on the inside in towards Luffield, Brooklands, I should say, if he's able to stay there all the way down the Wellington Straight. What a battle it is for P2. It's settled down at the front of the GT3s. Still battling in the GT4s, though.
Yeah, fantastic start. It's unusual for us to keep an eye this close on the GT4s at the beginning, but it's amazing to see Marius Hibmer absolutely taking it to William Humphrey. So he's obviously back from his vacation, feeling totally refreshed. And while these two are battling, Thomas Noakes has just managed to pull a slight gap, almost a second now, between these two of Marius and William. So yeah, fantastic start for the GT4s, and look who's right behind. It's Tristan Engelstadt right behind, and he's got Bobby Moss right behind him as well. So yeah, this battle is definitely heating up. But let's go back to the GT3s and have a look what the progress is on the GT3s. The cameras seem to be playing me up a little bit tonight. I made some changes to the camera settings, and it seems to have gone all a bit skew-whiff. So yeah, Yannis Albert 7/10 ahead of Anton Kahler, and Anton Kahler's got Will Soper for company. And Joe Glass, I think this is probably, Dara, this is probably the best start, the best qualifying that Joe Glass has had so far, running in P4.
Yeah, really good start for Joe. It's great to see him right towards the front of the field. He had a good race as well on Thursday night in the GT3 Championship, but here on Sunday night as well, he's performing very well indeed. Yannis Alberto has disappeared up the road, completely gone from Anton Kahler, but all Kahler really needs to do is finish P2, and somehow he, I think, will still claim that driver's title, if you can believe that, with Yannis Albert going for 8 wins in a row tonight. But it goes to show you want to turn up every single week to get those points on the board. But still, Will Soper trailing Anton Kahler. That could be an interesting battle to watch for P2 and P3. But really crazy that the battles for P2 are such a long way behind the leaders. 2 seconds in GT4, 2.5 in GT3. You know, they've just allowed those drivers to get away up the front. And it's going to take something quite a lot, actually, to bring them back in, you think, in the early stages.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised at that, looking at the lead that Thomas Noakes has managed to pull over Marius Hibner. I can only assume that this is because William and Marius have been battling like crazy, and Thomas has just got his head down and he's gone, as we've got what looks to be Tristan Engelstadt there with Bobby Moss coming around the outside, which would have given him the inside, the inside for the next corner, but unfortunately he backed out of it. So yeah, Tristan still manages to keep that lead. So at the moment, Tristan is doing absolutely everything required of him, as it looks like Tristan's got a run on William there as well. Let's jump on board with Tristan and see. He did get a run on him, so William must have got stalled a little bit coming out of Luffield, and Tristan's right up behind him. I think Tristan had to even ease off the gas a little bit there, to be honest, which would have definitely killed his momentum a little bit. So yeah, definitely all spicing up. Meanwhile, Thomas Noakes, if we have a look at Thomas Noakes has got nearly 3 seconds.
Incredible, isn't it, really? I mean, less than 2 laps into this race, build up a 3-second gap ahead of Hibner and Humphrey, 2 very well-versed GT4 drivers in this league, in all series that we've done here. Incredible for Thomas Noakes to get up the road like that. He's kind of been threatening this kind of pace all the way through the last few weeks, last couple of months really. 3 second places in a row, and it's looking like it's going to be what could very possibly be a very good evening for Thomas Noakes and good to finish off his championship. Hibner doing a good job to hold off William Humphrey as well, but that is some train, isn't it, behind P2?
It is. I was just having a little check-in on Matt Hoyland. So he he said in the chat, I think tongue-in-cheek, that the championship is now won, so it's kind of gloves off. And yeah, I was just looking at his timing between himself and Gianni Tahar, and it looks like that is absolutely what Matt was doing. He was throwing it all around, certainly on the tight section, the tight twisty section. Matt looked like he'd got really, really good pace there. He's lost a little bit now, so he's just dropped back a bit of a second off the back of Gianni. So yeah, that'll be one to keep an eye on. Another driver that's really impressing me here is Joe Glass. I know he loves Silverstone, one of his favourite circuits. So for the Glass Tech Racing team, Joe's having an absolute storming run in P4. So it looks like he's just dropped off the back of Will Soper, 1.4 seconds off the back of Will. So as we have a look, what does that look like? 1.4 seconds, that's exactly what it looks like. So is he going to be able to bridge that gap to the top three? I'm not entirely sure, but certainly P4, and who knows, there could be some incidents. Yeah, really good run out from Joe. Will Soper as well. Will Soper had a bad run, didn't he, Dara, at Spa? He had a kind of unlucky first lap, so Will running in P3, this is a bit more like it, what he expects, surely.
Yeah, I think you'd agree with that, and especially with the pace that he's shown and the consistency really over the course of the season so far. I think he'll be pleased to be back in this position and trailing very close to Anton Calo. Calo's in the fastest lap of the race last time by, and he's only a couple of tenths off and sticking well within that slipstream. But it's just been one of those seasons for also, but almost, you know, so close yet so far in a couple of ways. But yeah, really showing some good pace and the kind of drive where if he can just sit behind Anton Calo and save a bit of fuel, he could, you know, jump to the lead if the pit stop strategy goes in his favour. So a lot to look for in Will Soper's race at the moment. You could somewhat say something similar for Tristan Engelstad here. I know he's fighting quite hard, but in a battle with Bobby Moss where he's being dropped, Bobby Moss's that is, Engelstad just being able to keep himself with those front, or those guys just in front, a little bit better. And even if they're fighting, P2 could be on the cards here for Engelstad, which is critical for Quad Dash, of course, as Gianni tries to toil his way up from P6 in the GT3. So a lot to think about, and I think it's just going to be a bit of a game of chess for the first while, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just having a drink there. Well, you cut me back in. I wasn't ready at all. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit. I've got to be honest, Dara. I'm a little bit confused. What's happening with William Humphrey here? 4.2 seconds behind Thomas Noakes. Now, is this setup or is it a bit of fuel saving? You know, has Thomas Noakes decided that he's going for it no matter what, and you know, no fuel saving at all, and Williams thinking now I can make, you know, a few seconds back in the pits? I'm not sure, or has that cost William that battling with Marius at the beginning? Because this is very, very unlike William in terms of pace, and especially in this GT4 category. So yeah, I'm a bit confused by that, but we will see. We will see how it pans out. It's a long race to go, so let's have a quick skip back further down the GT4. So after that first kind of 5, we've then got Nick Stubb running in 6 for the Vulcan Fasteners by Glass Tech Racing in the Porsche. He's got Ryan Stringer behind him, so Ryan running P7. Ryan's having a decent run out, and then Pedro Luis da Silva without the assistance of Andre Luis da Silva, so running solo tonight. Pedro's down in 8th place, so again, is that a little bit off position for Pedro, or is that representative of where Pedro's been on other rounds and then he's come good towards the end of each session?
Well, I think it's an interesting question. I think he's going to be one definitely looking for some more here, and maybe to get through on these two drivers fighting in front of him is going to be key for that, because there are a couple of trains in the GT4s that we are starting to see form. That one for P2 behind Humphrey, and this one really behind Nick Stubber. If that can be mitigated by Pedro Luis da Silva, then he's going to be in a good position. Bobby Moss was going through with Marius Hippman, by the way. Tristan Engelstad got through on both of them. Oh, he's off the road. He's P3, but for how much longer? Hippman was going around the outside. Bobby Moss is around the outside of him through Farm. In towards Village they go. Inside line now for Hippman as he gets late on the brakes, but not late enough to make a move to the inside. Bobby Moss now switches to the inside on the inside of Aintree. Then they'll go into the loop onto the Wellington Straight. Is it going to be a good move for the Minecraft Racing team driver? No, and somehow in all of that they stay in the same order across the line, and Tristan Engelstad perfectly done from him up to P3. All of that's allowed William Humphrey to get through there.
You're like You're like ESR's own version of VAR. You spot things in this timing tower that I have absolutely no idea how you've managed to spot these things. You tell me things after they've happened, and I think, well, I've got more access to everything than you have, and it's just like, away you go. But yeah, so it looks like Tristan Engelstad had a bit of an incident, or Marius Hibma had a bit of an incident, and then Tristan decided to make the move. He then went off track. Marius kind of decided he was going to try and recover. All the while this is going on, William Humphrey is now all the way up the road, 2.4 seconds up the road from these guys. So that's kind of almost dragged Marius into this battle between Engelstad and Bobby Moss. And then Williams kind of been freed up, so to speak, to go on the hunt for Thomas Noakes, who is still 4.3 seconds. So you can see the gap there between Thomas and William. I imagine that William's going to be looking at this saying, right, this is the big challenge. Can I close that 4 seconds? And actually, he's got plenty of time to do it. It's got 49 minutes, Dora.
Loads of time. Yeah, I drove a good, 35 miles in that time before I got here. So, ages. It's got absolutely loads of laps and loads of corners. And particularly at a track like this, where there are opportunities to overtake at pretty much every single corner in these GT cars, he is going to have a field day of chances. It's just whether he can take many of them as we work our way through the rest of the race. It's 12 minutes nearly have already gone. I mean, it is going past pretty quickly. The races at Silverstone often do, because they are just that high octane nature, and there's a lot going on. But James Howard's going to have to try and keep focused and almost slow it down in his mind, otherwise he could find himself in a little bit of bother. Leskinen off the back of that train in the number 1 car. He's not going to be able to use the number 1 if the champion wants to wear it next season. But he is doing a decent job to stick on the back of this train. There's a few drivers, I think, up and down the field, the likes of Bennyworth, Leskinen, and then look at the GT4s, Stringer, Donnelly, Petkovic, Jennings, towards the backs of trains, trying to just make sure they can get to the pit stop window safely and maybe save a bit of fuel. Clayton Scott went for a move on Joe Glass there, just in the foreground. We saw as they worked their way into Vale. Not anything into club, but Joe Glass is under pressure. Those top 3 have more than gone, haven't they?
They have, there you go again. You've done it again. I was just looking on the other screen for to put the pit stop window up, and yeah, there you go. As Jaden looks like he's going to go up the inside, Joe doesn't really defend. Let's cut back to the other camera, and look who's stalking behind, Gianni Tahar. So I mean, he must be looking at this thinking 2 in 1 as he looks to the inside. Joe gets the power down. Gianni looks like he's got the run. Let's have a quick look from a different camera angle. And it does look like Gianni's, he's certainly got alongside, but the power of that Corvette down the Wellington Straight is going to be a macho. And Matt Hoyland says, come on then, I'm having a go at this as well. As Gianni's got the inside for the first corner, Jaden doesn't cut to the inside of the second corner. So that's Gianni Tahar up to P5. So making progress. And Tristan is 2 places ahead of Bobby Moss. So Matt Hoyland says, yeah, I'm definitely having a go here. I don't know whether Jaden's got a little bit of an issue, but yeah, they're all over the back of Jaden. Maybe just lost his concentration for a moment there as Matt Hoyland gets alongside as they're just about to approach Maggots and Beckett's, and they're going to go too wide. Of course they're going to go too wide. And just as we say, I was just going to say too wide doesn't often work through there, but yeah, I think proved me right there, Dora. So that was tight, but Jaden has got going again. So he's lost a bit of time. He's into the clutches of Joe Sparrow. So we'll try and have a little look back at that. I'm not sure if there was any contact because in the timing software it's come up just as an off track. So yeah, we'll have to have a little look back at that later. Meanwhile, that's put Ben Bennyworth up into P6. So we talk about Ben Bennyworth quite a lot being the P7 Meister, and that little incident has put Ben up into P6, so 1 better than his usual place at this time in the race. So yeah, fingers crossed for him that this it keeps going upwards.
Yeah, had a good result midweek as well in the GT Championship, GT3 Championship that is, on a Thursday night. So he's going to be looking to bounce with that off the back of a good result, use the momentum they've built up to good effect. Bobby Moss looking to use the momentum out of Cops. Let's see if he gets the run towards Maggots and Beckett's. Not really, and again, we saw it just a moment ago. Unless you're really committed on making a move and he's basically ahead, it's going to be a risky one. There's a big chance of collision, of contact, a car spinning around off the front. We saw just a couple of moments ago. So Bobby Moss just sitting and waiting and trying to find a good point to decide to go. You know, he is still fighting for the team's championship alongside Yannis Albert, but a first and a fifth right now would secure them the team's championship in that pro team's division. So if he's just going to stay sat where he is, it's not a bad thing, really. The risk will start if something happens to Yannis Albert at the front of the field, because with the Minecraft Racing Team drivers first and fifth right now in their respective classes, and the Quad Dash drivers fifth and third, it's getting a little bit closer than it was, 5-10 minutes ago. And Bobby's just going to have to be wary of that. But this is a good position to be in. You don't really want to throw it away from this spot. Yeah,
I think one of the things here is as we know, anything can happen in the second half of the race. I mean, anything can happen at any time, as Matt Hoyland and Jaden Scotton have just found out. But yeah, I mean, anything can happen, and the reason I say the second half of the race is when the GT3s start lapping the GT4s. It is at that point that you usually start to get a little bit of unpredictability. One of the things that will work in Yannis Albert's favour tonight is that he's on a big wide track, and also we do have slightly less cars than normal, so we're just running, I think, 35 drivers tonight, which is still fantastic considering it's the final round of the championship. As Jaden Scotton is into the pits, so maybe Jaden's come to get his fast repair out the way. Let's have a quick look. Is he gonna... I'm just wondering if he's got enough time to take... Does he have enough time left? Will he have got rid of enough fuel to then go to the end with 43 minutes? Possibly so, Dara, possibly so.
It's a very early stop, isn't it? He should be able to get to the end. We see drivers who have been able to, save enough fuel to go to nearly the 10-minute mark in the opening stint. It's going to be touch and go, though, because this is a circuit where you spend a lot of time at full throttle. So I doubt we're going to see too many easy runs or late pit stops in the opening stint, but we'll have to wait and see. Here's Gianni Tejar making a move past Joe Glass. Nicely done. You can fit a London bus between the two of them there through Village. No risk of them hitting each other. But Gianni's up to P4. He's better for Quad Dash.
Yeah, I don't think Joe fought that too hard, to be honest. I think Joe probably knows that there's a big championship on the line for Gianni, and I guess, how hard is Joe going to defend? He may as well just sit in the back of him and try to hang on to him and try to use him to kind of drag himself away from, if he can, from Ben Bennyworth, as the guys are coming up against, I think that's Rob Gregg. That's the first car to be lapped that we've seen on the stream in any case. So yeah, Gianni Tejar up to fourth, with Joe Glass still for company. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Looking further downfield, we've got a little battle going on here between Andrew Fellows and Andre Muntean. So Andrew currently running in P14. I know Andrew also likes this circuit. Raced Andrew around here a couple of times, and yeah, Andrew's quite quick here. So currently in P14. Andre Muntean, I think Andre might be a bit disappointed with P15 and think that he's got a little bit more in the tank than this.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I can't really see how he's going to be feeling particularly good about this position. Andrew Fellows is the driver in front of him, but then there's gaps. 2.5 seconds to Zelenskash, 3.5 seconds from him to Chell. Sorry, then another 3, 2.5. There are some pretty decent sized gaps in that GT3 field that we're not really seeing in the GT4. So it's going to be difficult for anyone to progress up that order when they are so sporadic and spread out at this point. But Andre Muntean doing his best to try and stick in there. Scotton as well, just trying to make sure that he's still relevant in this race and get himself to the end without having to make another pit stop. Because if he has to make another pit stop, he is going to be, far and away off the bottom or towards the bottom of the timing tower, which isn't what he needs at all. Niels Kula trying to come through Maggots and Beckett. He's also got Yannis Albert for company. Yannis going through the middle. Oh, that was a little bit risky, but it's going to work out for him.
Yeah, well, you've got Dean. I think Dean's had an incident and pitted, so you've got Dean that was himself going past GT4s, and then Yanis working his way through as well. So Dean is now past Pedro Luis da Silva. Pedro's currently running in P8. So yeah, look at this train coming up behind as we jump on board with Anton Kalo. Let's see what it looks like as they work their way through. There's quite a speed difference between the GT3s and the GT4s, which I think is good in one regard, because you get a clear chance to get the overtake done. But at the same time, I think with such a speed differential, sometimes like leading into the braking points, I think the GT3 driver is put on the spot whether or not the GT4 driver is actually leaving space, and I think that's where sometimes that can happen as Anton Kalo dives up the inside of Martin Kenyon. So we've not really had much to say about Martin Kenyon tonight. So Martin's currently running in P7. So they've got their championship done. So Martin's probably just checking the car over, Dara, to see what Danny Weir did to it last week.
Yeah, just making sure that it's all right. You know, Danny turning up to take the plaudits for everything that happened up to that point in the season. They won the championship at that point, didn't they? And he was able to join in on some of the celebrations. But it is back to the regular running of the show tonight. Hoyland trying to get through now. This is getting messy down into his cops, isn't it? So much going on. Marius Hibmus, something's happened to him in the GT4s. He is dropping down the order, and there he is. He's off the road. There's contact with another car. I'm not too sure who that is that's gone off the road. A car, I believe, it's a lap down. Could be Dean Sheesby. But that is not what he needed at all. It's going to promote everyone else up at yet another position in that class.
It is, yeah, and I think Marius was just trying to get that. We'll have a quick look what happened there, because we did see what happened. So you've got Dean coming through. Dean's had an incident himself as he... Oh, I see that Dean's just gone to avoid... Okay, he's gone to avoid Marius and then lost the car himself, and then Marius has been the victim in that. So very, very unfortunate. I think Marius has towed back to the pits, but that puts Ben Bennyworth. Matt Hoyland has got past in the traffic, and that puts Ben Bennyworth in a magical P7. So we could finish it now, Dara. It's all done.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good, isn't it? That's for sure. As we run our way through into turn one once again. Bennyworth looking decent where he's placed, but it's disappointing really in that GT3 class. We've got such big gaps between all of the drivers. Only Joe Glass is within a second of the car in front, inside the top 12 in that GT3 group. Inside line now, Nick Stubber can't really defend this one against the GT3. On the exit, Bennyworth will get that done nicely, and he's now right behind Matt Hoyland. Sorry, that's Bobby Moss, in fact. He's going to have to get through another car to get up towards Matt Hoyland. Just goes to show how those gaps are opening out already in that GT3 class on this first passing. His first time of lapping the GT3s on the GT4s. Not particularly helpful for the GT3s when we have seen the GT4s run so closely together, but with the GT3s now working their way through, those gaps are going to widen. And you can already see on that timing tower, there's fewer and fewer drivers by the minute who are within a second of each other.
Yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because I'd just kind of caught up with Nick Stubb and the timing, and I'd kind of gauged that Nick had really closed the gap in on Bobby Moss, and then when you've got some of the GT3s working their way through, you can see that all of a sudden that gap stretches back out, and now it's back down to 7/10 again. So, and Nick's going to have Joe Sparrow coming up the inside, as you can see here in his JSD Racing McLaren. So yeah, a bit of a tricky one for the guys to kind of work their way through and navigate. But I think that's all part of multiclass racing, and it's kind of, once you get into this sort of second half of the race, it's just as much about picking the timing of when to allow an overtake as when to do a defensive move.
Yeah, and it's all about that craft, isn't it, of making overtakes. Silverstone is a place where you can really start to work your way through. And in different ways as well. You've got high speed, medium speed and low speed corners, all of which are able to be overtaking opportunities at this circuit. You look at turn 3, we're about to arrive to at Village. For Gianni Terhart, that's an overtaking spot. He'll get to Brooklands, that's a medium speed corner. That's an overtaking spot. And even at Copse, high speed corner. If you're brave and bold and you've got enough of an overlap, you can make that work for you as well. So really does challenge all types of, all forms of overtaking this circuit. So the racecraft factor is really quite critical here. You can't just rest on the fact that you can use your track position to help you. It really is a difficult thing to be able to defend around a track like this. It's so tricky to be able to have all of those tools to make sure that you can keep the cars behind all race long. And once they have so many different opportunities, you know, everyone starts getting in the head and it becomes a psychological battle. So, yeah, it's no surprise to see that there are drivers able to make moves through the order. The orders are somewhat chopping and changing. Hoyland getting from Joe Glass there shows that good moves can happen even in the midst of some lapping action.
Yeah, I was just, I was on board with Janitor Hart and Will Soper, and I was just kind of thinking to myself that Janny's having a really good steady race here. He's working his way through the pack and he's closing down that gap onto Will. So I think this battle is going to be continuing all the way to the end of the race between these two. And then in the background, I spotted Matt Hoyland just absolutely sending it up the inside while Joe was navigating a couple of GT4s. And Matt, you know, absolutely well within his rights to do that, profited and worked his way up into P5. So, you know, I think, knowing these two guys reasonably well, I think Joe's going to be a bit frustrated with that one. So yeah, I think he got his pocket picked to some extent. So I think we could see a bit of a charge for Joe a bit later on. As meanwhile, down in the GT4s, we've got Linus Petkovicius, who's the closest battle on track, and he's got Stephen Donnelly right in front of him. So the two Mercedes GT4 drivers, as we've got Ryan Stringer diving in the pits, and that looks like it was Andrew Fellows in the GT3 that's worked his way through past Stephen. So yeah, just behind Linus Petkovicius, we've also got Chris Jennings as well. So I'm just going to do a little check, Dara. These have not pitted yet. No, they haven't. So Chris Jennings down in P11, not the usual kind of, I would say, top 8, top 7 that Chris Jennings, as we've been used to seeing in this series. Maybe Will Soper's had him working him too hard, selling those trouser presses last week. But yeah, certainly. There's an incident between Linus Petkovicius and Stephen Donnelly, and both of them are off. And just as I say that, Chris Jennings, just like the seas open, and Chris Jennings works his way through up into P9. Let's have a little look what happened there.
Yeah, what does happen here? Stephen Donnelly going in towards turn 3 in that Haribo car. Maybe he's not going to be as happy as if he had a bag in front of him. Let's see. Inside, yeah, it's just a car on the inside that sends it pretty late. Stephen Donnelly doesn't really expect that to happen. He'll say that the car on the inside sent it too far. The car on the inside will say that Stephen turned across him. I think I'll have to argue that one after the race, right?
That could be one for the stewards. We don't do stewarding in the comms box, so yeah, that could be one for the stewards after the race. Although from what I did see, it looked like Stephen had got a little bit of a kind of a slide going into the corner, but I do think you can slide some of these GT4s a little bit in any case. And Dara, what have we missed? What we've missed is we've missed that William Humphrey somehow has closed this gap down to 6/10. Wow.
He has. And it's going to be a really interesting battle to see how he's going to try and work this one through. Oh, hello. Bit of a moment there for Thomas Noakes into the corner. That would have been an easy move for William to make. Oh, hang on. He's going to get the inside line at Club. He's going to be able to take the lead on the inside through here. There we go. William Humphrey into the lead. Thomas Noakes tries to hang it around the outside. Nearly goes off the road. Will just about be able to hold on as they run their way in towards the opening corner. Outside line. Can he stick his foot in there? Can he make sure that he stays alongside on the inside? He will have for turn 2 at Farm, but it'll be the outside once again at Village. These two real tussle now as they'll get in towards one of the heaviest braking zones. In fact, the heaviest braking zone of the lap. It's going to be an outside line for Thomas Noakes that becomes the inside line. He's running towards Aintree. He can't go too deep here because he knows that William Humphrey will do the up and under. He's done exactly that. He's claimed the inside line onto the loop, and surely that's position made for William Humphrey. Just about going to claim the overlap, and now it's a case of whether Thomas Noakes can come back at him in the final half of an hour.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic timing. For once, I've caught something at the right moment. But yeah, so, I mean, something must have happened to Thomas. I've not seen it appear on the timing screen, but something must have happened to Thomas for him to lose. I think he was 4.9 seconds at one point as Arumas Zelinskas powers past Thomas Noakes in his McLaren GT4. So, yeah, to lose almost 5 seconds to William Humphrey is incredible. So, I'm guessing some kind of off-track or some kind of incident with a lap in GT3, but it's no point analysing it now. Anyway, it's too late. Thomas is behind William, and he's got a job to do if he wants to take a victory off him before the end of the season. Because we did speak to him, Dara, didn't we, last time out at Spa, and he did sound quietly confident for Silverstone. So everything was going to plan until it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, shame really for him that it didn't work out. However, there's still half an hour left of this race. See if things can change. We'll have to wait and see. But it is nice to see that battle for the lead in the GT4 class as we we pass the half race distance in the final race of the season. And it's been a really good season overall. I think drivers would have looked to this race very early on in the championship as one to watch for and one to look forward to, because Silverstone's a circuit that these drivers, when they're inside and out, it's a very popular circuit among pretty much everybody, right? So not particularly surprising to see that a lot of the drivers and a couple of the drivers that have been around for a while, like Joe Glass, are really performing well here. But I am still interested in seeing how this pit stop strat's going to work out. Leskinen looking more vibrant than ever as the sun shines off of that pink flatline racing car. Can't quite get the move done on Joe Sparrow. That was very keen defence, isn't it?
Yeah, beautiful looking car. I was, was Joe just get a spin coming out of Luffield, I think that was. Power down a little bit too quick. I wonder if that was Joe driving in his mirrors. So knowing when you've got a car behind you that wants to, make a pass, sometimes it does kind of put a bit of extra pressure on you, as we've got Simon Hunt in the pits in the GT4s. We've got the pit lane indicator back on, which I was trying to work out in the background. But yeah, I've lost my train of thought there. Yeah, when you've got a driver in your mirrors and you can see that they've caught you, sometimes you kind of just sort of drive looking equally as much behind as you do forwards, and that can in itself can induce a small mistake, braking a little bit later, then you try to get on the power a little bit earlier, and all of a sudden back end steps out, and that's what's happened to Joe Sparrow there. So really, really unfortunate for him. He's now in another battle with what looks to be Matthew Jones, so he's got going again, no damage, so that's good. Joe Sparrow in 11th. I would imagine he'll be happy inside the top 10, but a little bit of work for him to do there to recover that one.
Yeah, and let's see if he can get down the inside. Well, I think he'll do that on the GT4s there. Johnny Terhart trying to get through on Will Soper. The Axis Conehead car still in the top 3, but Terhart knows that he needs to get onto the podium if Quad Dash have any hope of winning this championship. At the moment, it's 3rd and 3rd for Quad Dash, 1st and 4th for Minecraft Racing Team, which could be more than enough for them to see themselves champions of that Pro Teams Championship. Will Soper is really in the way, and Johnny's not going to be able to hold back here. 27 minutes left of the season that has, well, will end up totaling about 12 hours, if not a little bit more, when you add all the extras at the end of the race. But 12 and a bit hours worth of racing. It's all going to come down to the final half of an hour, and yeah, Johnny can't rest in his laurels anymore. This is where he's going to have to go for it.
Yeah, this is. I was just wondering how close he's going to get to Will. I was kind of thinking that they might come up against that GT4 of Simon Hunt a little bit earlier, but it looks like Will managed to work his way through really well. And actually, Gianni's just a little bit further back now than I was. I'm not going to say hoping for, because that would be unfair on Will, but as I was expecting. So yeah, I thought we were going to end up being able to jump on board for an absolute stunning run down to the end of the straight. But we do have 3 more GT3s coming up that Will Soper is going to be the first car that needs to navigate those.
And that's not going to be easy. Never easy to be the leading car in that regard. You see a lot of drivers having big leads generally, and you can see that we often see it in the GT3s actually. Yannis Silverstone is not a good example of that because he's been so imperious all season long, but generally if you can build up a couple of seconds of an advantage in the lead of the fastest class, you see that undone very quickly when you get to lapping the cars, because you are the barrier. You can put, the battering ram. You push wide some of the slower cars, and it makes it easier for your rivals behind you to have a bit of an easier time to make their way through, and all of a sudden the pack can bunch up a little bit. That only really works towards the front of the field, because the second you get into the mid pack, it's kind of the same for everybody, and then it's just more about luck than judgment, and then of course the skill of getting through. But yeah, not easy to lead the way through a pack of slower cars. For Will Soper, that might be playing in his mind a little bit. Joe Glass as well, he's not far ahead of Matt Hoyland, but big battles for big points in this race in the GT3s.
Yeah, let's just have a look at this. So I missed that. Oh, as Matt gets a moment, goes wide, and Joe says, "Thank you very much. I'll have that back, Mr. Hoyland." So yeah, I was wondering how Joe had kind of muscled his way through, and it's a bit of consistency. And Hoyland looks like he's got the bit between his teeth, and he wants what he sees as his position back. And he is right on the back of Joe Glass now, so we might get that on board after all of a really close battle. And he's got Stephen Donnelly up on the inside. Is Matt going to make a move on the inside? Yes, he is. What's Joe going to do? Joe's just going to sit back, and he's going to say, "Okay, I'll try and get the cut back." He's not going to get that done. So, I mean, maybe Joe kind of knows that Matt has got a little bit more top-end pace in that Corvette. But Joe's just thinking about the end game and the kind of the bigger picture, shall we say, of not having an incident and keeping it on track. So Joe down to P6. I think he might be, because we've got Yannis Albert in the pits. That is an early pit stop for Yannis Albert. It's not an early pit stop. There's 23 minutes remaining, Dora. So wow, hasn't that gone quick? I was thinking there was still like, I don't know, 35 minutes to go. But yeah, Yannis Albert is pitted, which has let Anton Kalo through into the lead of this race. So I guess the question now is, how much longer can Anton Kalo go? And has he been fuel saving? And what is that gap going to be when he pits? If there is even going to be a gap, or is Yannis Albert going to be up the road?
That's the real question, and it's interesting when you've got that difference in strategy, and so Anton Kalo could have an advantage here, but it's a big gap to try and close down. Will Soper still with Gianni Tehar on the rear wheel. That's not going to help him out too much, but there's no movement yet in the GT4 class. We've seen them go able to go a little bit longer, haven't we, than others of late. So, I mean, and by that I mean the GT4s have been able to go longer than the GT3s generally across the season. So we're likely to see them come in a little bit later. And we're likely to see Linus Petkovic come in last of all, because he does that every single race. But it'll be interesting to see how long the GT3s can stay out. Anton Kalo could very well come in this time by, and that could start a chain reaction of the rest of the drivers, because a bit of an early pit stop for Yannis Albert in comparison to the rest of the group. Does he come in? No, Kalo stays out. So this could be a good undercut for the Finn.
Yeah, maybe
overcut.
Maybe overcut. Yeah, overcut. Maybe Yannis just came in because of traffic ahead. Because that you can see on your relative, can't you? You can see how many cars you've got to overtake, and maybe there was just too many on track at one point. And Yannis Albert thought, right, I'm going to go in, get it out of the way with, and then see where he comes out. Meanwhile, Matt Hoyland is in. So Matt was running, I think Matt was up to P4, I think. No, P5, because we've got Yannis Albert that's working his way through. Whereabouts is Yannis on track? So Yannis is coming through now. Has Yannis had an incident? Or no, Matt must be, his pit garage must be right at the end. I was thinking Matt was already on his way out. So yeah, Yannis Albert, no traffic around him. So yeah, I think that might have been a factor, Dora.
Yeah, very well could have been, indeed. So, yeah, interesting to see how this is going to play out. Final 20 minutes of the season. Can't believe it. We've come all this way. Feels like it's been a weirdly lengthed season because of how it's been bi-weekly on a Sunday. Often, obviously, the series will feel like it's weekly, getting through it quite quickly. But been difficult to get a feel of how far through the championship we've been. So it's almost kind of felt fresh every time we've arrived because it's not been as regular as other championships. But this is really quite a tense one to come down to the wire, and it has almost jumped up on us a little bit with the final 2 races being in consecutive weeks, the only 2 championship rounds on consecutive weeks being the final 2. It really has been a bit of a sprint to the finish in what has been a bit more of an endurance championship for the Evolution sim racing community. So yeah, crazy that it's going to come down to this. How late's Gianni going to leave it to try and make a move? Is he going to come into the pit lane? He looked like he dummied for a second. They continue onwards, and they'll go further than 40 minutes in this race.
Yeah, and someone else that's continued on is Anton Kalo. So he's not done yet. So I mean, this is going to make Anton's pit stop time probably, I'm not going to say for definite, but probably shorter than Yannis Albert's. Although Yannis Albert's was only, in terms of like stationary time, 15.28. So I mean, that to me seems like a really quick stop for Yannis Albert. So I'm not totally sure what Anton Kalo is going to be able to do beyond that. One little battle that I was just kind of keeping my eye on is that whilst William Humphrey may have got through on Thomas Noakes, he's certainly not pulled away. So Thomas is keeping that gap to within a second. So this bodes well because both of these guys are going to have to stop, I think, is it 15 minutes, something like that for the GT4s with 15 minutes to go? Between 15 and 10 minutes to go. So, yeah, it'd be good to see if Thomas has managed to save up any fuel while he's behind William Humphrey. So while there's not too much going on, we'll take a moment to just pop downfield a little bit. So we've got Nick Stubb that's worked his way up into P4. So a really good run out for Nick Stubb. And then in 5th place, we've got Pedro Luis da Silva. So worked his way through, kept himself out of trouble, had no incidents yet, as I touch wood. So yeah, Pedro's having a really good run here. But we do have some of the GT4s that have already pitted. So we've got Bobby Moss that's pitted. We've got Martin Kenyon, Ryan Stringer, Stephen Donnelly and Nils Cooler. So I think that Pedro is probably running a net P7 at the moment with Bobby Moss and potentially Martin Kenyon as well. Although Martin Kenyon's got Ryan Stringer right behind him. So yeah, with 18 minutes to go, these are going to be doing all that they can to get as best result as they can in that last race.
Yeah, that's right. And there's a lot of drivers in that boat, isn't there? So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out with this pit stop sequence fully underway. Now we're seeing most of the GT3s in. There's Kalo, Soper, Tehar, Joe Glass coming into the box as well. How much of an overcut, I keep saying undercut, how much of an overcut have they been able to get on Yannis Albert, if at all? Of course, Yannis is likely to be on fresher tyres, and he's already coming down the main straight, I think, Yannis Albert. Or no, maybe not. He's coming around, well, he's coming around the final corner, so he's pretty much coming down the front straight. Will Soper and Anton Kalo, the leading 2 in the pit lane, but they won't be the leading 2 on the track. Through goes Yannis Albert. Kalo's coming out, but Albert's already through, and he's got 17 minutes to finish this race in this position to make it 8 wins on the bounce. And somehow, James, somehow, it's not going to be enough for the title if Anton finishes second.
It's just madness. It is just absolute madness. 8 wins on the bounce. If he gets this one, 8 wins on the bounce. So, I mean, look, credit where credit's due. I'm kind of grateful for Yannis joining the championship when he did, because as you know, on round 2 we had a few incidents with a couple of teams that, let's just say, things could have gone a little bit better. And yeah, Bobby Moss was at that point was without a teammate, and Yannis stepped in and said that he wanted to race the series, wanted to come and enjoy it on a Sunday evening, and he's never looked back. So if he gets this job completed, it will be 8 wins on the bounce. I think we all know what would have potentially happened if he'd have attended the first 2 rounds, but that's made it all the more interesting, because it means that this man that we're on screen with now, Anton Kalo, he's had to put the performances in to make sure of those 2nd places or 3rd places, to keep that gap to Yannis as close as possible, knowing that he'd got those 2 first race scores, because there's no drop round in the European GT Championship, knowing that he'd kind of got that little bit of a buffer that Yannis has got to eat into. So overall, you know, every cloud and all that, I think that Yannis wasn't here for the first two has actually been quite a good thing for the championship.
Yeah, it's been a decent championship all the way through. I mean, yeah, if Giannis was here the opening 2 rounds and he was able to win those, I mean, we'd be talking about, all-time seasons and how, incredible this streak would be. As it is, I mean, to be heading for your 8th win and yet not to be winning the championship, it kind of just goes to show how important just finishing a race here in the ESR is. If you're having a bad day, if you're a little bit further down the order, it doesn't matter, pick up the points. They really are going to help you throughout the rest of the season. And yeah, Anton Kalo has shown that beautifully. And the amount of second places that he's picked up is going to be critical. The winning margin, as it stands, would be under 10 points. So, a couple of drop positions, we're talking, less than that, well, a handful, basically, will be the difference in favour of Anton Kalo as it currently stands. Bobby Moss has just got through on Pedro Luis de Silva for P7. Now, that's important for him, as get careful, because Will Soper and Jenny Tehara are coming through as well. Bobby Moss can't really do much to defend there, but he's got to hope that there's a couple more pitters. Indeed, there are in front of them. I think Jennings, Petkavicius are yet to pit, and that'll help out him and Giannis in the team championship with 15 to go.
Yeah, Nick Stubb's still to pit as well. So you've got Nick Stubb, Jennings and Petkavicius. So there's 3 places here for Bobby Moss. So probably going to be in net P4, we think. As Pedro gets a run, looks like he's going to get a run around the outside. This is brave. If he holds it, which he doesn't, he's going to look to get the switcheroo. Is he going to get it done? He is. He gets alongside, and then we're coming up to Maggots and Beckett's, which I'm kind of hoping we don't go too wide after last time, because I'd get the blame for it, no doubt. But Pedro sees sense, tucks back in behind Bobby and tries to get a run. Aren't these cars massively different in size, Dara? Look at the tiny little McLaren compared to that absolute tank of a BMW. Look at it, you can really see it there.
You can. We often have conversations about the different looking cars, different forms of GT machinery, and somehow they're all pretty much the same when it boils down to their performance. But it is crazy when you look at the two of them next to each other, that they have those, that kind of discrepancy in the features of them. But Bobby Moss is just about holding on at the moment, just about, as they're working towards the Vale chicane. Careful now, because Joe Glass is trying to find his way through. That Hoyland's just up the road from him. But these guys will overtake both Jennings and Petkavicius. But Nick Stubb has put himself into P3. He's just lost out to Thomas Noakes. But he's just behind. He's in P4 as he emerges back onto the road. What a strategy from Nick. He's right next to the podium out of realistically nowhere.
Yeah, fantastic from him. I think what we just saw there with Pedro Luis de Silva, Bobby Moss, Joe Glass and Matt Hoyland is we saw a perfect example. I don't think you'll ever see a better example of how multi-class racing can split the drivers. So you've got the 2 drivers in the GT4s running wheel to wheel, 2 drivers in GT3s running wheel to wheel, and to get past each other you've then got at least half a second to a second between them after they've got the job done safely and cleanly. So that is one of the challenges that this multi-class racing throws up, and it's going to be interesting when we look to the America's GT Challenge, Dara, because that pace difference between the GTEs and the GT3s is going to be a lot closer than these GT3s and GT4s.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely so. So
we've missed it. We've missed it. Janitor has got himself into P3. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be forever in trouble if I don't scroll back and see where it was.
We'll find that to see how Jenny did it. And here it is, down in towards what is Stowe, inside line. Well, easy as you like, really, in the end. Will didn't really defend that inside line too hard, and Jenny was just able to take the much better racing line, and he's through. And fast forward one lap later, and almost it's roles reversed. Will Soper looking for the move now in towards the final couple of corners. Not going to find it this time by. You can see they're losing a little bit of time to Jan Silbert, but actually Jenny Tehar on that last lap. And actually Will Soper on that last lap was 0.6 faster than Anton Kalo, so maybe the race isn't quite over for P2 yet either. But who knows? We've not got too much longer left to find out.
Yeah, I'm just, Dara, I'm just looking at Tristan Engelstad. He's up into P2 in the GT4s and he's pitted. So Tristan somehow has managed to get past Thomas Noakes. I'm having to check this.
Hang on.
It is correct.
Yeah, it is. So let's have a look at the teams. Okay, so obviously Quadrash come into this 22 points behind. And at the moment, with the two drivers running second and third, they're trying to chase down Minecraft Racing Team, whose two drivers are currently first and fifth. So it's pretty much dead level in terms of the points they pick up tonight. It's not going to be enough to overturn that deficit for Quad Dash, and Minecraft Racing Team would still be the winner of the championship. But Yanis needs to stay where he is. Bobby Moss can't really afford to lose too much time, and keeping Pedro Luis behind has got to be target number one for him in the final 5 laps or so here. Yeah, uncomfortable times, isn't it, right at the end of the race? It
is. I'll let you calculate the math on this one. So these positions look fairly stable. So we've got Gianni Tahar in third. He's not going to close down. I don't think he's going to close down Anton Kalo. Anton wants to make sure that he secures P2 behind Yanis Albert, because that will secure him the GT3 championship. So Will Soper is right behind Gianni Tahar. So there is a potential that Will could look to try and improve his own team's position, Axis Coned, by keeping the pressure on Gianni all the way through and maybe looking at some kind of late move. But at the moment, it's a P3 for Gianni. And then in the GT4s, Tristan Engelstadt has done absolutely amazing to get himself up into P2. He's got a great gap behind him between himself and Thomas Noakes, 6.8 second lead. So Thomas must have had some kind of incident somewhere. So yeah, Tristan, fantastic job to be there, right place, right time. And then Bobby Moss, I think, Bobby Moss doesn't look like he can go much further forward, because Bobby Moss is currently in P5 and he's got 3.5 seconds to Nick Stubb. But what Bobby Moss has got is Pedro Luis de Silva for company, and he's got GT3s working the way through, and Pedro says, okay, if that GT3 goes, I'm coming too. So as Pedro looks to the inside, keeps it nice and clean, nice and safe on the inside. So Bobby's covering the line at the loop to stop Pedro. Pedro's going to get a bit of a run here though. Let's have a look what it looks like on board. So if Pedro were to get this position, that would put Bobby down into P6. So what would that work out to be, Dara, with your magic abacus? How many points are we talking?
I mean, there's not going to be much between them, but it's not. Let me do the math for you in real time here. James, let's get the rulebook up. So let's have a look. Point system. It's a 60-minute race here. Of course, the points are different for a 60-minute race compared to a 75-minute race. 75-minute race? 90-minute race, because you get 75 for the win. There you go. In a 60-minute race, for 2 third places, you'd pick up 80 points. Actually, sorry, they've not got 2 thirds. They've got a second and third. That's 85 points. My bad. To pick up a first and a fifth is 83 points. So there's a slight advantage in favour.
But nowhere near 22.
But yeah, nowhere near 22. It would end up being a 20-point advantage in the championship standings in favour of Minecraft Racing Team. So they are looking, fine for the time being. It would require Yanis to drop and Bobby to have a bit of a crash, really, for them to be knocked off of that perch right now. There's only 4 laps to go as well. They just want to get to the end, aren't they, really?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. You never want any championship to be won or lost due to some kind of incident or internet connection or fuel, or we've had enough of our own technical issues. Oh my goodness me, as Bobby Moss goes in front of Matthew Jones there, and I thought, wow, that's going to be yeah, that was Matthew just backed out at the right moment there. But yeah, you never want to. We've had enough of our own technical issues all season, on and off, so fingers crossed the stream is performing very well and as it should be tonight, which will be the standard for the future streams. But yeah, so all said and done, if Yanis Albert and Bobby Moss keep things going, then that should be securing them the championship in. Meanwhile, Will Soap has just dropped off a tiny bit off the back of Gianni Tahar, but I say tiny bit, it's about a Rizzler paper, so he's certainly putting the pressure back on at the moment. So I just wonder if Will is going to want to get the podium to round out the season. Another battle that is still going on a bit further downfield in the GT4s is Stephen Donnelly, who's just 4/10 behind Nils Kula. So Nils has got his teammate Andre Muntin coming up behind them both. So Andre's going to get past them now. So Stephen currently P12, looking to try and take that P11 off Nils. That's the closest battle we've got on track in the GT4s. And then the other battle that we've got going on is Kalle Leskinen. So Kalle has closed down Adam Baker. Big shout out to Adam, currently running in P8. Fantastic run for Adam. I did race with Adam on Thursday, and for a few minutes, I mean, I'll let you into a secret, Nora. For a few minutes, I had a little bit of a giggle because I thought Adam had picked the wrong car, and it was only after the race I realised that he runs the Porsche in the GT3s, and he actually runs the McLaren here in the European GT. So yeah, I was kind of a bit embarrassed after thinking, I thought he'd picked the wrong car at first, but yeah, it wasn't to be. But fantastic run for Adam here, P8, and look who's in front of him. 11 seconds up the road, Ben Bennyworth, P7.
Yeah, as we could have called it. You know, I'm not a betting man, James. However, if we had bets for the Evolution Sim Racing European GT Championship, I would put a lot of money on Ben Bennyworth finishing 7th most weeks, because even if I lose 1 week, I'll make all the money back over the next 4 weeks where he finishes 7th every single time, you know? So
is that called
consistency.
Spread betting, is it? Is that what it's called?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. But no, Ben's just been so consistent. I mean, I'm hoping, Ben, if you listen back to this, Ben, I hope you're not taking it in terms of us saying that you can only finish 7th. But I mean, it's such a credit to a driver to be able to have that consistency, to be able to finish in a similar position every single week, to be there, you know, maybe at a good track, at a bad track, just to still pick up the points. You know, it's such a key factor when going into a championship such as this. I mean, if you look at the driver standings, Ben Bennyworth has had 1 top 5 all season long, and yet he's P8 in the championship. I mean, he's only finished 7th once in this championship, but he's finished 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 8th, are his top 10 and a 10th are his top 10 finishes, and he's in the top 10 in the championship. He's in P8 in the championship. You know, it's the consistency that's just going to get you there. You don't necessarily need those high-end results to really, you know, catapult you up the championship. Kalle Leskinen has a 2nd place. He's got a 4th place as well. Both of those are better than Ben anyway. But he's behind Ben in the championship because he's not had that consistency. You know, he's only had, Kalle, 3 results inside the top 10 compared to Ben's, what's looking like it's about to be 6 in the 9 races that he's been at. Sorry, scrap that, 7 in the 9 races that he's going to have been at. So, yeah, the consistency really doing him a lot of favours. But I kind of feel bad because he's in the middle of nowhere, 15 seconds behind Matt, and 10 seconds ahead of Adam and Kalle, who are battling themselves.
Well, he gets a lot of coverage from us, so we're big Ben Bennyworth fans in the Quatersport Motorsport Bravo, Quatermass Motorsport Bravo team. So, yeah, it just seems coincidental that every time we cut to Ben, that he's always running in or around 7th place. So, yeah, I know many a driver in ESR that would be absolutely delighted to be running P7 in this field. So, as you say, it's certainly... It's a good thing in my opinion, and something that Ben should be proud of putting a really decent season together with competition such as Yannis Albert, Anton Kalo, Gianni Tahar. You know, these guys are quick drivers, and Will Soper's not giving up, Dara. He's not giving up. And is Yannis on the last lap, or is he? He's going to be coming to take the white flag now, I think, is he?
He is, yes. He is. There's only 1 minute 20 to go. It's a 2-minute lap. He is going to be on his final lap of the championship.
Barney's not took the flag out again, has he?
I think he's hidden. He's hidden because he's on the left-hand side, underneath where that little bridge is. No, he's not there. No, there he is. He's not waiting. Okay.
No, he's not.
Barney's having a day off.
Barney is.
I think he knows it's the end of the championship. He knows he's not getting paid from this point onwards, and he's given up, James. I think
I know the feeling. We've got one. This is the last lap of the championship. Is Will Soper going to make a move on Gianni Tahar? We've also got Pedro Luis de Silva, who is right on the back of Bobby Moss. These are going to get, I think these are going to get their final lap in. So we'll just keep an eye on where Yanis Albert is, as Pedro is looking to get the slipstream. I mean, you're not going to get a much slipstream in that great big tank of a BMW from that very small McLaren, but he's trying in any case. I guess these guys are just having some fun now on this last lap of the race. Let's have a look where Yanis is. I think he deserves a bit of coverage. Yeah, been absolutely superb since he joined the series, and yeah, I mean, I've kind of run out of superlatives about what to say about Yanis really in this championship.
I have as well. He's going to have won 8 races in a row in a car that's meant to look like a block of dirt. It's not really transpired that way for him. The German has got 1-1-1 in his car, and at the start of this win streak, we were joking that, you know, he's got 3 wins in a row. You know, he's got 1-1-1 on his number. He's got 1-1-1 in his win column and on his championship tally, but it's going to be 8 wins in a row. He has dominated the season when he's been able to turn up, but somehow, as Yanis Albert wins the finale, the British Grand Prix of this Evolution Sim Racing European GT Championship, he's not going to be the drivers' champion. Anton Kalo is going to come around the final couple of corners, and despite not winning since July, it is July, sorry, since March. I'll get myself right on that one. He's not won since March. He's still going to win the driver's title. Gianni Tahar finishes in 3rd. Will Soper finishes in 4th. Unlucky for Will to finish just off of the podium. But we've got to wait to see Nick Stubber, Bobby Moss, and Pedro Luis de Silva now. Because Bobby Moss and Pedro Luis de Silva are fighting. This isn't really what Bobby needs, because he kind of just wants to get to the end of the race nice and calmly. Where are they? Here they are, in towards Kopp, side by side. He doesn't need this position, Bobby Moss. He could let him go and still win the team's title with himself and Yanis for the Minecraft Racing team, but he's made sure that he's kept himself ahead in towards Maggots and Beckett. That's going to come right down to the wire. He just can't spin now, James.
He can't. I'm just trying to keep one eye on where William is, because I want to catch William over the line, because he's going to be our GT4 champion, which is not a massive surprise to us as he comes in now. So William Humphrey for Glass Tech Racing, he's going to take the checkered flag in the GT4s. I didn't think it was going to happen at the beginning of the race, but fantastic run for William, who closes out that GT4 championship. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. We've got Tristan Engelstadt doing everything that was asked of him, coming home in P2 for Quad Dash Racing. And then we've got Thomas Noakes, who we can only assume had a little bit of an incident earlier on, coming in 3rd place. Nick Stubb, fantastic P4 for Nick. And then we've got Bobby Moss and Pedro Luis de Silva. Bobby Moss taking that P5 with Pedro Luis de Silva right behind him in P6, Dora. Wow.
And that will be the team's title for Minecraft Racing Team. Bobby Moss just about doing enough with Yanis Albert. They had no points after 2 rounds, obviously. They weren't a team in the opening 2 rounds, and they've come through the pack, and they have won the championship. Kenya's going to finish late for DXT, and we've only got a handful of drivers left to go in this season. What a season it's been, though, James. 10 fantastic rounds.
Been brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. I've not enjoyed the technical problems, of course, and trying to see the stream kind of glitching and whatever. But yeah, it's been an absolute great first experience, probably the right word, for ESR in a multi-class championship. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I think that the drivers have enjoyed it as well. And to have 35 cars on the grid for the final round, when a lot of the championship has already been kind of done and decided, is absolutely testament to the drivers themselves and all the people that get involved. So yeah, been really great.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fantastic way to wrap up the championship as well. And he'll cool up, well, I mean, he's crawling down the Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight. Of course, the newly renamed Sir Lewis Hamilton Straight here at Silverstone. And here are the results then from our final round of the championship. Yanis Albert is our winner again. 8 in a row to end out the season. But it's not going to be enough to take the driver's title. Anton Kalo took that crown. Yanis will have to settle. I'm sure he'll be very happy, though. With the team's championship, Gianni Tahar was 3rd, just ahead of Will Soper. A 10th and a half, split them across the line. Joe Glass was 5th after a good result from him. And Ben Bennyworth, 3rd best result on the season. Actually, no, sorry, 2nd best result on the season to finish 6th. Adam Baker, Kalle Leskinen, and Arima Shalinskas, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then we get to Matthew Jones inside the top 10. but a minute off the lead. Jaden Scott and Andy Chell, 11th and 12th, with Andrew Mintian and Andrew Fellows. The other drivers on the lead, Matt Hoyland, Joe Sparrow, and Dean Cheeseby all finished, but a lap down, still pick up points for those positions. However, in the GT4 class, it was William Humphrey who was a winner again, and he wrapped up the driver's title in the GT4s. Real congratulations to him. That's now 6 wins on his season. And, couple that with a second place as well. He is your champion. Tristan Engelstadt finished in second, doing everything he could for the Quad Dash Racing team to try and get them the title. It's his 5th podium of the season, and 5th in his last 6 races that he's attended, so good record towards the end of the year. Thomas Noakes, he'll be disappointed, I'm sure, with 3rd, but a great effort to get himself there. Nick Stubber and Bobby Moss, 4th and 5th. Bobby Moss, of course, taking that Pro Teams title with Yannis Hilbert. Pedro Luis da Silva, Ryan Stringer, Martin Kennan and Chris Jennings inside the top 9, with Linus Petkovic as the top 10, the only 10 within a minute of the race lead. Niels Kudler and Stephen Donnelly, the only other drivers on the lead lap. For Callum Morrow, Simon Hunt, Pete Paiva and Rob Gregg, they were all 1 lap down from 13th through 16th. Ian Chambers found himself 2 laps down. Sadly for Maris Himmer, after that collision we saw earlier, he was out of the race, 18th and 18 laps down. That is how we have wrapped up the season. 60 minutes Silverstone. Gone in a flash, James.
Whew. Yes, hasn't it just? Well, we're not finished there, because I guess we've got some driver interviews to bring in, Dara. So while you decide who it is that we are bringing in, and also what format that we are covering for tonight's interviews, whether we're reverting back to the usual couple of questions from yourself and one for me to finish off, it's totally up to you. While you're doing that, I will bring up the replay and we will try and find the driver that you bring in first.
Yeah, I reckon it'll work best if I'll interview a person, and then you can interview the next person, and I'll do the next one. I think that'll flow nicer, especially if you want to get through a few people as it's the season finale. Right, shall we go? I think we've got to go for... James, I'll leave this up to you. Driver winner tonight or driver champion first? You know what? I'm going to make the executive decision. We're going to interview our champion first, and that's Anton Kalo, because I want to talk to the 2 Minecraft Racing Team drivers together. I think that'll be a good idea. So Anton is going to join us now. Welcome in, Anton. Congratulations. P2 again, but it's winning the title. You must be delighted.
Yes, very happy. Very, very happy.
I mean, how difficult was that race? Because you kind of knew what you needed to get, with the expectation that Yannis would be towards the front of the field. Good qualifying lap, nearly getting pole. Did you feel like it was in you to get pole? You just missed out?
I think so. My fastest lap was my 3rd lap, and everybody else's fastest lap was their 4th lap, and I got off track on my 4th lap. So, I mean, I think it's maybe pointless to think, but I maybe I could have had pole, but I don't think the race would have gone any differently.
No, but either way, you finish second, you're still going to win the title. I mean, it's such a hard-fought run towards the end of the championship. In Yannis's 8-win streak, you finished second 5 times, and that really has been what has got you the championship. Where do you feel like this, leaves you in terms of a confidence base going into future seasons?
Really confident. Like to say that, like I've said in previous times, that when Yannis first joined the thing, he was like completely untouchable, and now it's like, I don't know. Either he's gotten worse, which is unlikely, or I've gotten better. So if anything, I'll be excited to see my pace in official races and see if that 4.5k rating of mine is maybe too little now, because I think I've gotten a lot better as a driver just trying to keep up with the guy. So like, he's just pulled me up for sure. So I mean with ESR, we'll have to see how the future seasons go, but I'm very certain you will see my name a lot more.
And we very much hope that we do. It's been great having you all season long and fighting towards the front, and it's been great to be able to talk to you as well after most of the races, so thanks for joining us. Before we let you go for the end of the season, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
I mean, not necessarily a shout out, but a massive thank you to everybody at Evolution Sim Racing and affiliated. You guys have done a fantastic job keeping this championship going for so many weeks and showing up every 2 Sundays. Thank you to every single person who supported me during this, like my teammates and my family. And then a massive thank you to all of the other teams who have joined every other Sunday to share the track with us and make all of these races as exciting as they have been. So I'm very, very excited to join future championships that are run, and yeah, we'll have to see. I'm gonna take some time off, work on a bit of a passion project of mine, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Anton, love to hear it. Congratulations, though, on your Drivers' Championship, and hope to speak to you again in the near future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Anton Kaler there, our Drivers' Champion in GT3. I think that sets us up nicely, James, for you to talk to our Drivers' Champion in the GT4 class, and our race winner in the GT4 class as well, William Humphrey. He's with you now.
Good evening, William. Can you hear us okay?
Hello.
First of all, congratulations, GT4 champion. Now,
Thank you.
You know and we know that that was what we were expecting to say at the end of the season, but there's a difference in expecting it and actually turning up week in, week out and doing it. So you must feel over the moon.
Yeah, I'm not happy.
How
feels
was
as good as the last two.
tonight for you? You seem to drop back a little bit from Thomas at the beginning, and I think you were battling with Marius a little bit, and then you had a bit of work to do. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was just too cautious in the opening lap. Maris made a pretty good move on the outside of turn 3, which is quite nice. Me and him had a lovely battle. I remember on the outside of Cots, which I was very pleased at the time, and it was just about chasing Thomas for the rest of it. I got a little bit lucky with traffic, especially when he got a bit of traffic in a bad place and I didn't. But I overtook him fair and square, and I still beat him just like I would.
Very good, mate. Very good. So is that? I mean, we missed what happened with Thomas. So was that what it was? Is just that he got overtook in traffic, or did he have some kind of incident? Because at one point I think he was like almost 5 seconds ahead, and then the next time we looked, you were right with him. So was that kind of traffic related, or did he have an incident?
I think it was just a mix between I was slightly faster than him and traffic not necessarily wasn't on his side, but the bits I was faster than him was the bits I got traffic as well. So that means I could still keep that gap relatively similar to what I gained, what I took it down to. And then passed him, and then after that I think he span on his own after talking to people, because I was ahead of him and I didn't touch him, but I didn't see if a GT3 or another GT4 had spun him at the time.
Awesome. So what's next on the agenda for William Humphrey?
Well, me and Maris are going into the 24-hour Creventic series, which is very good for us, trying to get our skills up, very top tier people in that. And also we've got AGT coming up, which is where me and Maris are teammates as well.
Ah, that's right. The GlassTech team have decided to put the high I rating drivers together and the slightly lower. That's exactly what's happened. I know Mr. Glass. I know his strategy. And what about the team in GlassTech? Do they provide much support and kind of encouragement week in, week out for these events?
Yeah, of course. Like, been around much esports teams to say. I've been around a couple, but the two that I've been with, this one is by far the best, and I don't see it getting any better than this. All very much a community, very much a, lack of a better term, in a cringy way, family, and we actually do help each other out a lot. We exchange setups, we help each other out with Garage 61, and basically just try and make ourselves faster and faster with each race that goes on.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I'm going to ask you the question that everybody wants to know, but nobody's going to ask. Is what's Joe Glass like as a team boss?
Surprisingly down to earth, actually. He's not so much a dictator.
Is he really?
He's not really a dictator. He's actually really good. He's very much someone that listens to inputs from other people, and is very much like, they very much trust people to go and offer, let her do their own little project for the team or help out with other people. He doesn't have to micromanage. He's just all around great guy. Just don't like the Newcastle accent.
Awesome. Have you ever been put on the naughty step or not?
Oh, I personally haven't. Although there have been a few jokes.
I'm sure.
when I've been getting too many X's in a race.
I'm sure there have. No, we love him to bits. He's one of our bestest buddies at ESR, as you know. So we always like to get a bit of backstory on Joe. So look, William, thank you for joining us, mate. Congratulations on the GT4 Championship. Before we let you go, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
Oh God, there's too many people.
Go for it.
The whole of ESR, you, Darag, all of GlassTech, Marius, well, sometimes. My dad, my stepmom, my mum, my nan, who I know is watching, my partner, her parents, and so many other people who have helped me along the way and to continue the story. I can only ask for anything, can't ask for anything else.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome, William. Well, look, go and enjoy your evening. And we'll no doubt be sending trophies and cash prizes to the Glass Tech team very shortly. But yeah, have a great evening, and we'll see you in the next championship.
You too. Thank you so much.
Cheers, William.
Bye.
William Humphrey there. Great to speak to William. Again, he's winning again. It's almost, it's the rinse and repeat story that we've come to know and love with Will over the course of the last few months now, last year really, with him in GT4s. Next, I think we are going to take a team each, James. I think that's a good idea. We can get more people in for the same topic. So I'm going to bring in the Minecraft Racing Team duo of Yanis Albert and Bobby Moss, because they have won the Teams Championship together. Welcome to the both of you. Firstly, Yanis, congratulations on the win. 8 in a row. And it's carried you and Minecraft Racing Team to the team's title. I mean, how must it feel? Because, I mean, incredible run of form from you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've been a bit anxious about this last race because I knew Silverstone was a bit tough one. I put in quite a lot of practice for this one, and I'm happy it paid off in the end. I'm very happy to get the 8 in a row.
Yeah, just missing out the driver's title, but you know, you got the team's title, and that's probably the better prize as it is, obviously. And for you, Bobby, you've had such a great season up to this point. You know, P4 in the championship, and carrying yourself and Yanis to the title. What's it been like working with Yanis to get all this way after having no points with 2 rounds on the board to being a champion?
I don't know about me carrying Yanis. I think it's the other way around. But no, it's been a lot of fun. He's a great driver and a wonderful man. So really, really good lad. It's been a great season. I really appreciate it, guys.
And has Yanis given you many tips or anything, or is he just has he stayed in his lane?
No, he's told me to go faster, and I've tried to take that on board, but unfortunately, a bit of a skill issue there. So.
Still, a couple of podiums on the season. A couple of podiums on the season's done you so well. I mean, the first round where you were together as the Minecraft Racing Team, Yanis got the win, you got P2, and it was looking pretty dangerous from that point onwards, and you've been absolutely incredible since. Yanis, for you, where does this leave the Minecraft Racing Team? Obviously, you've got your own Penguin Adventures on a GT3 Thursday night. Are we going to be seeing the Minecraft Racing Team again? With maybe a different block with 3?
We'll see. I'm doing AGT with Stitchbury in the I think it's the ORA car. So
shoulders aren't strong enough to carry me again. So
yeah, I need some better GTE driver now. No, but I'm not sure where the Minecraft Racing Team is gonna go. But I think it's very fun delivery. I liked it a lot. Some minor adjustments for next time it goes out, and we'll hopefully see each other soon with that.
Whether you meant it or not, minor adjustments is a pun, and I'm just going to leave that there. Yes, great season, both of you. Bobby, where does this leave you going into the future? What are the plans looking like in the next few months?
Well, I'm looking forward to, I don't know how to say that, AGTC, is it? That you got started in a couple of weeks? Look forward to that one, with running with Hayden Miller. So I don't really drive GT3s very often, so I have to put in a lot of work to, well, definitely put in a lot of work to keep up with Yanis, but I think anyone else on the grid, to be honest. So
yeah, there's a lot of catching up to do, it feels. But before we let you go, Bobby, first of all, is there anyone I'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
My beautiful wife, Mai, for letting me play every other Sunday. So yeah, big shout out to her, and all my family that like to watch the streams that I put up. So yeah, all those guys. And of course, you guys for putting on the great broadcast every week.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for watching it back.
Don't cry.
But thanks, Bobby. Yanis, anybody like to give a shout out to after what's been a ridiculously good season for you?
Yeah, Bobby for sure. Without him, the team championship wouldn't have been a thing. For you guys to do the stream, I've been watching it like in the evening, just chilling, watching it, coming down a bit from the race. So yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, sorry, I got to thank Yanis as well, first and foremost. He's carried me all season, so.
Oh well, it's been a great season having both of you in the same team, and it's been really, really fun to have the Minecraft Racing Team on the grid. Congratulations to both of you on the team's title, and hopefully we'll see another iteration of the team in the future. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All the best. Thank you.
Bobby Moss and Yanis Albert there. It's nice to speak to them as a team, isn't it, James? Because you kind of get a good feel of the team banter, right?
It is, yeah, it is. I'm not sure how well planned their team was, only coming together on round 3. But yeah, talk about making the best of a bad situation. They certainly have done that. So I'm just really pleased for Bobby in all of this, because he was kind of loyal to the league in a few difficult moments, and to then get paired up with Yannis Albert is just, he's just kind of probably in this sort of format is every GT4 driver's perfect teammate. So yeah, really made up for Bobby, and big shout out and thanks to him for sticking with us, and hopefully he's enjoyed it and it's been worth it. So yeah, brilliant to hear from both of them.
It is, and I think, I don't know about you, would you like to speak to both of the quad dash drivers?
Absolutely. Obviously, I'm gonna do exactly what you say because you're in charge.
Right, let's try and get them in. Jenny Tehar and Tristan Engelstad. I'm going to warn you, Tristan Engelstad's going to be speaking here. You ready? Let's see. Oh, he's not speaking, but he's here. There they are for you, James.
Hey, very good evening, gentlemen. How are you two?
Hello. Sweaty.
Yes, I know the feeling. So we'll start with you first, Janny, because you're on screen. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for attending tonight and putting on a fantastic race with you and Will Soper. Was that as close and as tight for you as it certainly looked for us in the stream?
Yes, because I started P6's race, I believe, and I was already not having a feeling that it will go well because I wasn't really quick and the rest was super quick. I luckily gained a couple of positions already at the start, so at the point I was suddenly very close to Will, and I knew from the whole season that we were very close, so I knew I need to get in front of him, otherwise we stay like this for the whole race. So the first opportunity, the inner Max Verstappen, he came out and I dived on. Nah, just kidding.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I made the
no,
move.
You're not.
It was fair, and yeah, it worked out perfectly fine. And the rest of the race was just defending like crazy because Will's speed was just amazing. And at the end, I was on 16x, so it was a bit sketchy with all the GT4s around me. But yeah, happy of one of the best races of my season.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Well, I'm glad you've had a good race, because last week wasn't your luckiest of races, was it? I think you'd got fantastic pace last week, and things just, for whatever reason, things didn't go your way. So I'm really pleased that tonight, you managed to kind of pull that podium out the bag, and well deserved. You and Will have been so well matched on pace all season. Is that how it's felt for you as well each round? Has that been your kind of target man of where you need to be at?
Yeah, the first part of the season, I think I was a lot of the times quicker than him, and during the race I was basically crashed out every time, so he was in front. So at that point the only one I was focusing on were Jason, Anton and Yannis. But the longer the season went, Will got quicker and quicker, and also in qualifying he came much closer. So yeah, at the point I really saw him as my rival, and unfortunately I couldn't beat him due to too many incidents in the end. But to have such an insane fight in the final round with him just sort of confirms that we were a great combination in drivers, and we can make something entertaining on the race, I think.
Certainly was for us, mate. Certainly was for us. Well, look, I'll come back to you in just a second, but before we continue on, Tristan, can you hear us? Are you with us?
Yeah, sorry. At the beginning, my network's a bit slow.
No problem, no problem. So, fantastic race for you tonight, Tristan. You were in amongst the battling, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you appeared in P2. How did you master that one?
I have no idea. I actually don't know. I barely practice for these races, so I'm a bit surprised by the results I get, if it's above the P5. But when I got out of the pits, I think something happened with Thomas. I have no idea what, but I was just suddenly P2. I was like, oh, that's great. And then I was kind of having a better pace than him, so I pulled away. But the start of the race, it's a masterpiece, man. My heart rate, it's never been that high in a while.
Well, it was a brilliant to watch, and I know we'd got a few less cars on track tonight than we've had in previous, but the GT4 battle looked absolutely fantastic, and you managed to kind of get through and pull away. speaking about the season so far, what's been the highlight of the season for you in terms of the best moment?
It must have been this race, the first 5 laps. It was amazing. Even though it was like there was a lot of car contact and close moments of maybe like spinning me out, I think it's still like the best moments.
Awesome.
I loved it.
So just coming back to you then, Gianni, what's Tristan like as a teammate?
Insane. he is just so much pace, and we have always been, when we're practicing, we're always close. And basically from the moment we started, he started the team. I joined him because he said like, oh, this is a fun team, and it actually is. Enjoying it a lot at Quad Dash, and yeah, we keep pushing each other further and further every time. And I think as a team, yeah, we are very strong, and I think we have shown that in the championship as well, with even with how many issues we sort of had, that we are so close to winning the championship. And I think P2 is still an amazing achievement at what we did as a team.
It certainly is. It certainly is. And then last question, same question to you, Tristan. What's Gianni like as a teammate?
He's horrible. I hate him.
I know. I know.
He's a great teammate. He keeps pushing on, even if it's not the best result. You know, he keeps coming back, which is what you want from a teammate. With you want a teammate with a lot of determination. That's a good way to say it. But yeah, hopefully
Brilliant.
more moments to come in the future. That's great.
Hopefully, mate. Hopefully. Well, look, Tristan, before we let you go, is there anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast?
You guys for commentating on us. I love it. And Giannis, congrats to the championship, and Bobby. And my own teammate, I guess. I don't know.
Aww.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, thank you for that. And Gianni, last word to you. Is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to live on the broadcast?
Yeah, of course, you guys, because you're not now.
Okay.
No, of course, Tristan, amazing teammate, good friend of mine. So that's also can be said. You guys always for creating amazing commentaries. I haven't seen a lot. No, just kidding. I have seen them all, and you guys do an amazing job with the league. It's such an amazing league to join. So if there are still people watching, join this league. It's amazing. A lot of great people, intense racing, and if you want to become a better driver yourself, just join it. And yeah, of course, Giannis and Bobby, congrats on winning the teams. And Anton also, I don't know how he still got P1, even if Giannis basically won everything. But yeah, he was always very consistent, so also deserved P1 in the end.
Lovely words, mate. Lovely words. Well, look, on behalf of the league, while I've got you, we will thank you for all of your efforts and hard work that you put into the steward's room every week with your drawings and videos and all the extra work that you put in to keep us all entertained. But on a serious note, thank you very much, because it's massively appreciated. Congratulations on your P2, and you can now go away. You're free to go and enjoy what's left of your evening.
Yeah, finally. Thanks.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good one.
Gianni and Tristan Engel stuck there. Always fun to talk to them together. After finishing P2 in the team's championship, that was fun, wasn't it, James? Good to get them in. I'm looking at who else we've got. I reckon. Do we bring in one more driver, James?
How many more have we got? We can. Yeah, I think we can bring in 2 singles.
Okay, I will go first then, and I will bring in Will Soper. Because he's going to end up finishing in the top 3 of the drivers' standings. Will, welcome in. Congratulations. I mean, just missing out on the podium tonight, but congratulations on the podium in the championship overall. Sum up this season for us, because it has been such a good one for you. This is your I think it's 5th top 4 of the season in 10 rounds. Incredible consistency.
It has been absolutely fantastic. I've just been chatting with everybody else and while we were waiting, and we all couldn't say enough good things about it. The championship as a whole has been fantastic, and especially literally right to the last corner, trying to get past Gianni, and that's really been the story of the season for me. And well done to him. I think they did well in the championship, but I've really enjoyed racing against him. So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you just about beat Gianni to P3 in the drivers' championship. Even if they then got P2 in the team championship, right? But it has been a fantastic season across all races so far, and you really have shown some good pace and momentum over the back end of the season. What positives are you going to take from this season as a whole to go into your next few months and next few championships?
I've actually improved a lot on all fronts, I would say, and so there's a lot to take. My race pace has improved. My strategy on fuel saving is leaps and bounds away from where it was at the start, so I was able to kind of manage that quite well. And yeah, quali pace. I mean, today in quali, we were, man, top 5 were like within a tenth of each other. And if you'd told me at the start of the season that I'd be within a tenth of Yanis and Anton, I'd have shaken your hand off. So yeah, very happy.
Fantastic, that's fantastic, Will. Well, congratulations on the P4 tonight, and of course the third in the championship. Before we let you go and let you enjoy the rest of your evening, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast to wrap up the season?
Thank you. I'd love to. I'll be as quick as I can. I want to say a big thanks to my teammates at Axis, especially Chris, who was my teammate in GT4. We had a dream of a top 14 finish, and we've absolutely smashed it. I think we've ended up 5th or 6th or something, so we were happy. Gianni, I think I said it already, but he's been such a solid, respectful guy to race against. I think we've had some really great battles, and I've really enjoyed that. It didn't really matter to me where we finished. It's just been really fun. Want to say a massive thanks to James and all the stewards for putting on an amazing league, and to you, Dara, for your amazing commentary every week. And then finally, I want to say, and James, yeah, he got thanks for setting the thing up. So,
okay.
Yeah,
we haven't got time to thank people multiple times.
You can't get thanks for 2 things.
No, we ain't got time for that, dude. We're running late. And just finally, I want to say big thank you to my kids who have both stayed up to watch this tonight and have cheered me on every week. So they've put up with a lot of practice, and they've always cheered me on, and I'm really grateful. So I've had an absolute blast. Really enjoyed it, and I'm going to go spend my winnings on a couple of doner kebabs, I reckon.
Well said, Will. Congratulations, and it's been great to speak to you all season long, and we wish you all the best in the coming weeks. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Appreciate
Cheers,
it.
Will.
See you around. Thanks.
Will Soper there. A list as long as his arm for people to thank, and rightly so. Great to be able to chat with him. And James, I'll leave it up to you for who you want to.
No, you decide, Dara. I'm just picking the cameras.
Oh, because I know now that whoever I pick, you're going to tell the other ones that I picked that person, and
of course
they're going to turn on me.
Absolutely.
Oh, right. Right. Let's have a look. Who is? You know what? We're going to bring in Andy Chell, because he sits in there every single race, and I feel bad if we don't get round to him. So James, I've left you with Andy Chell.
I've got to find him first. There he is. Oh, he's on the grass. He's on the grass.
No, don't show that.
Well, it's too late now, Andy. I can't rewind it. It is what a perfect timing. How are you, buddy?
Not bad, mate. To you?
Yeah, not too bad. We're a little bit hot, and we're a little bit. I bet you're a little bit hot as well. How was that for you tonight?
Yeah, it's a bit warm. Yeah, it was a bit warm, to be fair, mate. But you know, it went well-ish. Apart from that, yeah. But other than that, it went really well. To be fair, it was good fun. Good fun race. And yeah, it was just a nice end to the season. It kind of clicked for me and Cy this race, which is a shame it didn't happen earlier in the season for a bit of a high finish. But you know, it's going to happen at some point. It's nice for it to happen than not happen, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, it was fun, to be honest.
What are your thoughts, Andy, about the? I know that you and I have kind of spoken about the British GT format and stuff. How did it work for your team in terms of one driver in each class? Did you work together on stuff, or tell us how did that go?
It was a little different for us because we were running 4 cars. So with having both me and Ben in GT3 and then Simon and Ian in GT4, we'd worked together on practice. So practice where we could, like overtaking and things like that, which I think has shown in are the GT3s, me and Ben coming through the pack, because we practice that quite heavily, especially at tracks where we didn't know, like Sachsenring to start with, because we were like, right, we don't know where the best places are going to be, so we'd work together to try and do that. We'd have like 3 hours of practice a week for it, and then we'd work in our sections for setups. So me and Ben would work on the GT3 setups, we'd have the base setups, and then we'd try and tweak them just to see if we could get them a little bit better for each race. And that did mean sometimes me and Ben were running completely different wing levels. Like tonight, Ben was running, I think, 3 clicks higher wing than I was, but that was where he was comfortable, and vice versa for me. And exactly the same for the GT4s as well. So Ian and Simon created their own setup with a bit of help from some of our little engineer people and things like that, and then they'd work together on that to get it to suit the tracks they were at. And that's how the team has been running it, really, to be fair. It's been very much a massive team effort. So yeah, I can't knock anybody on how they've done. We've done. There's been a lot of hours put into it, and a lot of time behind scenes. I mean, Simon's been running a lot of time behind the scenes when he can, and then obviously when we lost him because of his work commitments, it made it a little more difficult for Ian. But you know, I'd jump in the GT4 for Ian and try and help out where I could when Simon wasn't around. So yeah, we kind of just did that, really, to be honest with you, and just like I say, just pulled on everybody's expertise to try and get the best run that we could. And then in the races, yeah, if we were together, we'd try and work together. So I think there's a couple of times where I've tried to help out where I overtake Simon or Ian, just to try and help them out if they're in a battle. And me and Ben, if we could, we'd just try and draft each other if we were close to each other. Not that happened very often because Ben's very fast, but yeah, it was just we just work as a team.
Sounds perfect, mate. Sounds perfect. And a little bird tells me that the Quatermass Motorsport livery is going to be on a Porsche RSR in another week's time. Is that right?
Yeah, little ginger bird, eh? Yeah, no, it is. So we've obviously committed to the America's GT Challenge, which we're looking forward to. And yeah, so keeping the continuation of our marquee that we use. So obviously we're a big Porsche team in the GT3 sector. We obviously ran the Cayman in GT4, and yeah, it was a no-brainer, really, to go with the RSR. It took a while to get it all liveried up because unfortunately our normal designer, our normal designer's on holiday, so it fell to a certain team principal who remains nameless. Okay. But yeah, it looks very much like what you can see on screen, really. Our livery kind of transposes quite nicely. Obviously, we've done a bit of a custom sticker and decal for the championship because we always do. If there isn't one provided, we think it's quite nice to showcase. So you'll see it on all of the cars. We'll run a customized decal sheet for the championships that we're in if there isn't one provided. So yeah, we've created one for that. The GT3 really pretty standard apart from the championship name on it, and then obviously the RSR's just been inverted. So as with the GT4s, which are black sunscreen strips, that's been translated over. So yeah, I think it's going to look quite nice. There's a little nod to my Royal Naval history in there as well. So if you spot that, I think Dari, you're doing the commentary, aren't you? If you spot that, then I'll see if you can shout that to me.
Well, we've got 2 weeks that me and Dara are covering it together, so you can bet your life we're gonna be hunting for it now, Andy.
You're gonna be hunting for it, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna start a competition. Spot the naval tip, and then we'll be all over it, mate. We'll be all over it. So look, thank you for joining us, mate, for the last kind of what is going to be the last driver interview of the season. Before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening and cool down a little bit, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so as always, I'll give a shout out to my drivers. So Ben, Ian, and Sai, you've done brilliantly this season. I'm really proud of what we've done. Hopefully, we've done enough to finish 10th in the championship. Not sure, but hopefully. And then just a big shout out to the team as a whole. Our sponsors, there's 6, so I won't name them all, but they know who they are. And then finally, she got a shout out in the GT3 coverage earlier today, but to the wife, if she didn't let me come racing, I wouldn't get to. So big thank you to her as well. And finally, to you guys for putting this on, because if you didn't, we wouldn't get to have these brilliant races.
Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much for joining us. Lovely words there. So I will see you on track in the RSR, and we'll see who can keep it on track the longest, mate.
I'll give it 2 laps.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll already be off by 1. So we'll see you then, and have a great rest of your evening, Andy.
And you guys, thanks.
Thanks, Andy. Andy Trillgap. Great to speak to him to wrap up what has been a fantastic championship season, James.
It certainly has, Dora. It certainly has. I've enjoyed my first season of commentary, not without woes and difficulties, but nevertheless, it's kind of got me back into the groove, and eventually it looks like, touch wood, that we've had a semi-stable final stream. So yeah, this bodes well for the future. So I guess that we best wrap up with some formalities for anybody that's still with us. So if you would like to get on track with Evolution Sim Racing, we have our GT3 Championship on a Thursday evening. Current season is full, but we are halfway through, or almost. Yeah, we're just over halfway through. So we will be opening season 10 at some point in the next probably 3 weeks. And we do have some really interesting changes that we're proposing for season 10 to try and keep it fresh and interesting and mix things up a little bit. So there'll be more information available on that in the Discord. European GT Championship is now finished. Thank goodness, I hear some of us say. But yeah, that's going to be replaced by the America's GT Challenge, as we said earlier on in the stream, while Dara was watching it, sat with his feet up, pretending to be in traffic. We do still have 2 places left, team places left for the America's GT Challenge, and that kicks off on the 3rd of August for pre-season. We also have a practice league that runs every bit more of a relaxed affair every Tuesday and every Saturday, and then we are working on something new for a Monday evening, which all details will be released in the Discord very shortly. So it's at this normal point, Dara, that we normally go to the next round information, but there isn't one. So in the absence of having a next round, the next time you're going to see us on track on a Sunday is going to be the America's GT Challenge on the 3rd of August. To everybody that's still in the stream, thank you very much for tuning in. If you could give us a like or a subscribe, that would be massively appreciated to boost the algorithm and promotion of the stream for all of these fantastic guys that have been racing with us. I guess that's all that's left to say from me, Dara, is thank you very much for joining me this evening. And I mean that thank you more than any other time that we've done it. Because, yeah, I was flagging a little bit going solo, but no, absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for joining me and the league all season. And I can't wait to see you and Paul on the America's GT Challenge when we start that.
Yeah, I mean, it was only the 5-hour, or near 5-hour journey to get back, just to get here with you, James. The 12-minute McDonald's stop, which includes coming off of the main road, stopping, buying the food, eating the food, and then leaving in 12 minutes. All for you, James. All for you.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much it was appreciated when you rocked up just before the race. Okay, well, that's us done. Thank you to everybody watching, and we will be back. Myself and Dara will be back for, I think, Daytona that we're covering for the America's GT, because Paul Walsh is on real world commentary duties. So until then, have a lovely rest of your evening. Congratulations to the England team that I hear in the background have won the Euros. So I'm looking forward to going and finding out what that was all about. And we will see you next time.
For the upcoming right-hander, brake 30 meters later and ease off the pressure.
Are you spending a lot of time looking for setups and struggling for faster lap times? Are you tired of searching online for answers? Would you like to get setups, analysis and tutorials from some of the best sim racers in the world like Ralph Alla, Mitchell de Jong, Martin Krunker, Josh Rogers and many more? If so, virtualracingschool.com is the answer you've been looking for. VRS data packs provide hot laps from our professional coaches for you to analyse and replicate. They provide tutorials that walk you through the fastest laps and what the pros did to achieve the best times. And they provide the setups you need to ensure your car is competitive in both oval and road racing. If you're ready to get faster and reach more podiums sooner than later, just go to virtualracingschool.com and sign up for a free account today.